It's a comfortable Saturday night in the desert outside Phoenix. Temperatures in the low 80s and thousands of fans have made their way to Phoenix Raceway, where once the green flag drops, the sun will set, sparks will fly, and the stars of IndyCar will race side by side. Among them, Sebastian Bourdais, still holding on to the championship points lead for Dale Coyne Racing. Race defending champ Scott Dixon looking for his first win of the season, as is Simon Pagenaud, winner of last year's season title. Both will chase J.R. Hildebrand, racing with a broken bone in his left hand. In his return to action last night, Hildebrand qualified a career best third. The question is, will J.R. or anyone be able to pass Team Penske front row? That's Will Power and pole sitter Helio Castroneves. The answer is 250 miles away. Welcome to IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon, where we set the stage for tonight's race under the lights. Hello everyone, I'm Rick Allen here in Phoenix as Lee Diffie calls this weekend's Formula One Russian Grand Prix. Phoenix is round 4 of 17 for the Verizon IndyCar Series, as well as the first of 6 diverse ovals on this season. And tonight is the only oval before the 101st running of the Indianapolis 500, which is just under a month from now. Now, last year, the IndyCar Series returned to Phoenix after an 11-year absence. It's a popular venue for both the fans and drivers. And yesterday, the schedule started with a single 2-hour practice followed by qualifying. Well, Team Penske had 4 of the top 5 practice speeds, led by last week's Barber race winner, Josef Newgarden. The one exception was J.R. Hildebrand, who is mentioned back racing with a broken bone in his left hand that he broke at Long Beach 2 races ago. In qualifying, Will Power went out and set a new track record for the provisional pole, only to be outdone by his Penske teammate, Helio Castroneves, who claimed his second pole position in a row here at Phoenix. And Marty Snyder is with the King of Speed.
And that would be Helio Castroneves, who's about to be introduced to the crowd here at Phoenix International Raceway, Rick. And we'll get a word with him right before he's introduced. And Helio, 195 miles an hour, around a 1 mile over. How much is this place about bravery?
Well, it's a lot. But we've got to make sure to be calm, cool, and collect, and that's what we're going to do.
All right, Helio going to go be introduced to the crowd. Another factor to throw into all of this, Rick, the wind. In practice the other day, it was about 40 miles an hour. Today, it's about 30 miles an hour. Certainly a factor. They will feel it, especially in turns 3 and 4. Going to be interesting to see how these drivers deal with that wind all evening long.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marty. Wind gusts upwards of 45 miles an hour yesterday. Helio, he set 6 overall in points, 33 behind Sebastian Bourdais, who, after 3 races, continues to give Dale Coyne Racing their longest hold ever on the championship. There are 5 drivers at the top, separated by only 15 points. Among them, Scott Dixon and Simon Pagenaud. Both have finished in the top 5 in every race this season, but without a victory. For Dixon, perhaps this return to the desert can change that. After an 11-year absence, IndyCar Racing returns to Arizona.
Drivers, start your engine!
Green flags in the air, we're underway.
Here comes Montoya after Helio.
The hell set tire.
What a great job by Montoya, not to flat out run over Helio Castroneves.
How aggressive does Montoya get?
Montoya slowing, he's going to come in.
Exact
Same looking failure.
This is unbelievable.
Scott Dixon now finds himself P1.
They call this guy the Iceman. Always puts in solid performances and never puts himself in a bad spot.
Ross touched the wall at the exit of 4. Caution on the course.
With just a couple of laps to go.
There's the white flag and the yellow being displayed. 39th career win for Scott Dixon, his first at Phoenix.
And Scott Dixon was certainly the benefit from some misfortune from Team Penske, but also very, very strong at this race. Now, it's a different circumstance this year. You were with Chevrolet then, now it's with Honda. What can we expect tonight?
Yeah, I think it's a known fact that it's probably not the best place for the Honda Aero kit, but Honda have been doing such a fantastic job with the horsepower. Everybody at HPD, so it's been a fantastic gain, and we'll see it. We've definitely seen it at other tracks already, and I think we're actually a lot closer this year compared to what they had last year. So that's definitely a positive. Starting 8th, I think last night we were a little bit too conservative. Didn't expect the gain in grip. Once we had those crazy conditions earlier in the day. day to go in tonight. Qualifying, there was a ton of grip and it was quite easy, unfortunately, and we ended up 8th. But the NTT data car has been strong, and hopefully, we can get back to victory lane. Would be pretty special from where we're starting.
And speaking of victory lane, you're second in the championship, top 4 in the first 3, but you could have, should have won 2 of them. Glass half full or half empty?
Yeah, it's, I think definitely with the first 2, St. Pete, the car was just so fast, and Long Beach was similar, and Barber, I think we had a good race there at the end, but Josef did a hell of a job. Had we seen the front end of the grid, I think last week at Barber, I think we would have set sail. But it is what it is. We've got great points. We're 6 points out of the lead of the championship right now, so we're starting okay. We just got to keep building on it. Hopefully we can get a win here soon.
Good luck.
Thanks, man.
Scott Dixon, one to watch tonight, Rick.
Thanks, Kevin. A reminder that if you want to go on board with Scott Dixon to watch him work his way through the field, his camera will be streamed on IndyCar Mobile. You can go inside IndyCar all season. You just download IndyCar Mobile from Verizon. Now, if you were with us last year, you might remember Ryan Hunter-Reay making some incredible moves during the start and restarts. Like a year ago, the Andretti driver starts from the 12th position, so it will be interesting to watch a couple of past series champs work their way up tonight. As mentioned, Team Penske starts 4 drivers in the top 5 tonight, but only one of them has a victory this season, and that's Josef Newgarden. We will talk to last week's winner when we return. You're watching IndyCar Live, brought to you by Verizon. Go inside IndyCar all season. Download IndyCar Mobile from Verizon.
Hi, I'm Helio Castroneves,
Tony Kanaan.
and we're here in Phoenix, Arizona.
I was supposed to say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. So
We're here in Phoenix, Arizona for?
we're celebrating 20 seasons.
No, really?
20 seasons, that's
We're still
right.
young.
This is IndyCar Access.
This is going to be a low-key night. We just want to reminisce. We want to tell some stories.
When you guys retire, what are you guys going to do? Obviously, you're going to do your Vin Diesel Tribute act.
I'll talk to Chip and I'll just take your job.
No, you won't. What do you use in your hair?
He won't tell you.
I mean, really, right? It's never moved. It hasn't moved in 20 years. I just would like to say, for 20 years, guys, I'm really, really impressive, both of you, to be so successful and be so quick at such an old age. And I know, and I'm old. Thank you, guys.
And Dario having a lot of fun there. Welcome back to Phoenix, where that event took place Thursday night, honoring tonight's pole sitter, Helio Castroneves, and Tony Kanaan, who starts 6th this evening. Take a look at these numbers. For Kanaan, he's 42 years old. Castroneves, he'll turn 42 in May. Career starts, Iron Man for Tony Kanaan, making his 330th career start. That's 4th all time. 331 for Helio Castroneves. 4 Indy 500 wins between the 2 drivers. Very impressive. This season marks the 20th season for Helio as driven for Roger Penske. Josef Newgarden is racing his 6th year. But first for Team Penske, and a week ago, Newgarden became a member of a select club.
Barber Motorsports Park, where it's time to bring the action. Will Power, the pole sitter, good clean start. Look at Pagenaud and Diction go wheel to wheel, and Diction pushes his way through to 3rd.
Josef Newgarden is on the blacks, and he is looking racy. He's right up the tailpipe of Simon Pagenaud. Teammate on teammate. Side by side, Pagenaud and Newgarden. Newgarden muscled him out of the way.
All of a sudden, Josef Newgarden finds himself in 2nd. The day's gone perfectly so far for Power.
Drag race into the pit lane.
Scott Dixon come out just in front of Josef Newgarden, who tries to dart around him, but Will Power wins the race off pit road.
Newgarden here on the inside.
Move out of the way. The young American is coming through.
Big drama for the race leader, Will Power.
They've been debating whether he has a left rear puncture.
We're going to have to pit this lap. Feels all right.
He says it feels all right.
Oh, no.
Newgarden for the first time this year in the lead.
The kid from Hendersonville, Tennessee. He's got 3 career victories. Boy, can he drive a car. First win in Penske colors for Josef Newgarden. He's done it again in Barber.
Woo! And with that win, take a look at some of the impressive names that he joins as far as getting their first win for Team Penske. That 3rd race for Roger Penske, the captain, puts him on a very impressive list. Now, Katie Hargett is with the 26-year-old Tennessee native.
Josef, we just saw your name alongside some IndyCar legends. Have you allowed yourself to fully process what it means to get your first win for Roger Penske?
Yes. You got to move on pretty quick. This is a week later and we're here at Phoenix. So, I'm super thrilled for all these guys on the 2-car and really all the Team Penske. There's a lot of work that goes in at the shop at Mooresville, and then really all these race cars, everyone works together. So it's like, one car's winning, it's a victory for all of us. So, we celebrated. We had a great time at the shop. It was great to have our new sponsor Fitzgerald on the IndyCar side, but now we're back in the Humobile with Verizon, and we'll try and get it done again. So, very much enjoyed it, but we got to move on pretty quick.
We saw Simon Pagenaud get both his first win and his first championship for Roger in the same year. What does the momentum from your first win mean coming here to Phoenix?
Well, I think for us, the biggest thing is trying to get that out of the way early. Hopefully that just means we're going to get more later on. I'm a firm believer that we're going to get better as this year goes on, especially on the 2-car. I think for me, trying to learn how to gel with these guys, how they're going to gel with me, that takes a little bit of time. You're going to need weekends to understand each other and really figure things out. And this is our first oval race together, so that's going to be a whole new process for us. You would think, hey, you guys should just be able to get off and rolling pretty quickly, and I think we have, but I really think we're going to get better as we get more time together. So hopefully that rings true and we can get a couple more victories in this car.
Marty, I think it might be safe to say he's a favorite to go back-to-back.
His teammate Will Power will be a favorite to win here tonight, Katie, and I think you'd like to put the first 3 races of 2017 behind you, but it hasn't seemed to have bothered you very much. How have you not let it get to you that it hasn't been the races you've wanted?
Yeah, obviously Barber was really frustrating. It was a perfect day up until we got a puncher, but you can't worry about it. I've been in motorsport long enough to know that you have your good and bad runs, and we've obviously had a bad run, but it turns after a while, so we're hoping for a great run tonight.
I think you told me last night the math eventually has to work out for you to have a good run because it's been 5 straight races that you didn't want. Let's talk about the challenge of this place. Obviously the speed and the G's, but passing. How aggressive do you have to be if you want to make a pass here at Phoenix?
Yeah, it's hard. You've really got to time it right. And the cars have so much drag now, when you pull out, it really slows down. Like the straight line speed is not that much higher than the actual corner speed. So following is hard, but it's going to be pit stop sequences and strategy that really plays out in this race. It's going to win it.
Rick, you mentioned that Penske front row. Will Power will start right beside his teammate Elio Castroneves in the 2nd position today.
All 4 Penske drivers in the top 5 positions. Well, thank you, Marty. As many of you know, 2-time F1 world champion Fernando Alonso is missing the Monaco Grand Prix to race in the Indy 500. Now, last week he was with us at Barber and then went to Andretti Autosport for his seat fitting. This weekend, Alonso is in Sochi for the Russian Grand Prix, where Ferrari have locked out the front row. Catch all the action starting at 7:30 a.m. tomorrow right here on NBCSN. When we come back, we'll hear from J.R. Hildebrand, who watched last week's race from pit road, yet came back this week to capture a career-best 3rd-place qualifying result. And we're just minutes away from the start of tonight's race here at Phoenix Raceway, where track president Brian Sperber and his team are in the midst of a state-of-the-art renovation project. Now, earlier this year, Elio Castroneves, he helped break ground on the construction. And yesterday, all the IndyCar drivers signed a steel beam that will be used in the project. When completed, the start-finish line will be repositioned in turn 2, where drivers will have to finish the race through the turn.
ISC's board authorized $178 million redevelopment. Well, we're really excited about what we're going to be able to do here at Phoenix Raceway. We're building brand new seats, brand new grandstand structure. We're also building a brand new DC solar power pavilion midway. We're going to move the start-finish line over at our signature dogleg turn. To have the start-finish line there, the restart zone in that turn is just a recipe for a lot of excitement. And I can't wait to see how all the drivers are going to attack that corner.
It is going to be an incredible fan-friendly venue. Now let's check in with Robin Miller.
Rick, J.R. Hildebrand had a great practice session here, and after his hand was broken at Long Beach, I wrote, "Nothing will keep this guy away from Phoenix," because he was so hooked up. And you said you got that right.
Yeah, no, this was definitely on my radar. I was making a comeback one way or the other this weekend. So hand actually feels pretty good and ready to go out here and rock and roll.
All right, you broke up the Penske party. You're 3rd. You're starting your best start ever in an IndyCar. Yep. What do you got to do to beat him?
you know, I think we got to hang in for sure to start with, and then you know, as the conditions change, it's going to be a lot of like taking advantage of lap traffic when you get up to it. You know, making the right moves, being smart in those situations. You know, being good in the pits. And I think in a lot of ways, just not getting like off strategy and having that somehow screw you up. So, you know, I think we'll be going hard from the beginning, and you know, seeing what these guys got, giving them a run for their money.
What about the pain threshold? Does the pain go away when you go really fast, like you've been going?
Yeah, right. No, it's the faster you go, the more competitive it is. Like I think the more you ignore, you know, any pain that you've got. But in all, you know, like. We had a 2-hour-long practice session, and yesterday I got out of the car, pretty much felt fine. So I'm not expecting for it to be an issue today. I'll have some ice ready for me when I get out, and you know, see where we end up.
Ice and maybe some champagne, Rick. That's what he wants for his first win here at Phoenix International Raceway.
Yeah, I tell you what a tough young man J.R. Hildebrand is, having to race with a broken hand, and there's no power steering on these cars, so it makes it for a very long night, 250 laps. He's going to be working very, very hard. You're watching IndyCar Live, brought to you by Verizon. Go inside IndyCar all season. Download IndyCar Mobile from Verizon.
Phoenix is crazy fast. It's the most G you're going to experience all year. It's physical. It demands the most out of the driver, the car, and everybody all the time.
Phoenix is a classic IndyCar short oval. The start and the restarts were way out of my comfort zone, but went with it anyway because I knew I had to make something happen.
Probably the most challenging oval I've been on. Seems like a bit of mayhem.
Two completely different corners that you're never going to have the car that is good enough for both.
If you get it wrong, it's going to hurt, but one of my favorite races of the season.
If you get it wrong, it's going to hurt. They were at ludicrous speed last night in qualifying, and we're expecting just that as they will go 2x2 for the start of this one. Welcome high above that racetrack that we've seen some incredible speeds at already, alongside Paul Tracy and Townsend Bell. Now, guys, in Townsend, Penske looks to be the team that everybody's looking at as far as they've got to get by them to win this race. But is there maybe a little fighting inside of the Penske organization as to who's the best one of the group?
Oh, there's no question. And the Penske cars, just like at the last race in Alabama, are finding grip where no other team seems to be able to. And as you said, Rick, somebody's going to assert themselves. They talk about chemistry. They talk about teamwork. Forget all that. It's garbage. Tonight at Phoenix, it's about who's the man at Penske. I think Josef Newgarden's looking very, very strong. But this is a track that requires track position because it's hard to pass. What does that mean? You're going to be looking for passes on pit lane, on starts and restarts. Look for blocking as people try to defend that track position, and very aggressive moves up the inside to try to make a pass here tonight.
Now, separating that Penske foursome, there's another Chevrolet in there, but it's driven by J.R. Hildebrand. How tough is this guy, Paul?
Well, you got to be tough, and he's in a situation where he's had a fairly bad season so far, and at Long Beach he broke his hand. He's got a plate in there with 8 screws in there, so he's really worse off than Josef Newgarden was last year with his broken hand. So he's really toughing it out, and he's doing a great job this weekend, but he needs a good result going into the Indianapolis races coming up.
Okay, so now do we see a Penske racer win this race, or how about like a Tony Kanaan? Can Tony Kanaan come out at 42 years old and win this race?
I think it's possible. The Honda teams are both, I think, all feeling a little bit of a disadvantage tonight to the Chevrolets, but remember, if you get track position with a quick pit stop or a big Tony Kanaan first lap at the start, he could hold, he could be a contender.
I think Ganassi's going to be a player tonight. I think they're holding back. I think they got something. They dominated last year with the Chevy power, but now they're right there with them, so I think they got a shot.
It'll be interesting to see how strong the Penske foursome is at the beginning of this one. Thank you for watching IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon. Coming up, it will be the command to fire the engines as we get ready for 250 laps at Phoenix.
Here we go, ready for the start of a new season in St. Petersburg.
Last the first step, nice job, boys. I can't thank you enough. Stay after it all day, don't get frustrated. Do your job, we'll be right there. Green, green, green.
You drew a line in the sand, and
Checker flag, Dave.
Woo! Enjoy this one, you're in this tough work.
And we are about 8 miles from downtown Phoenix at Phoenix Raceway as we get ready for the 4th race of the season for the Verizon IndyCar Series. And it's the first oval of the 2017 season. We have already seen unbelievable speeds in qualifying and practice, and we're expecting nothing less in the race. It's time to fire the engines. Let's go for the command.
Are you ready? It's time for those most famous words in all of sports. Please welcome tonight's Grand Marshal, Chairman of the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, Denny Barney, as he gives the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
21 cars come to life, and let's go down to pit road and with Robin Miller.
You know, Rick, it's the first oval of the year. It's a preview of the Indy 500. We've been waiting on an oval for a long time, but I got a new name for it tonight. It's the Hunger Games. That's because there's a half a dozen guys that are starved for a victory. Let's start with Helio Castroneves, the pole sitter. It's been 47 races since he saw victory lane. Well, it's not because he hadn't been fast. He's won poles, he's been close. He should have won Detroit last year, but it hasn't happened. Starting third, J.R. Hildebrand. He's never won an IndyCar race. It's his best start ever. He's got a broken hand, but he doesn't care because he's fast. Starting sixth, Tony Kanaan. It's been since 2014 since he won a race. He's another guy that's been fast, just not a lot of luck. He's got a new engineer. He's the fastest Honda in the field. Then we got Marco Andretti starting ninth. It's been 96 races since 2011 since Marco Andretti saw the checkered flag. Believe me, he's going to be on the gas tonight. Last but not least, Ed Carpenter. He starts 21st. There's only 6 ovals. He only gets 6 chances a year to win. He was the guy to beat on ovals a couple years ago. He's had some bad lucks. He's got to pass a lot of cars, but never count him out. And finally, we'd like to say hi to John Andretti and his family. We're thinking about you, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you, Robin. The Hunger Games. So there are quite a few hungry drivers out there looking to find either victory lane for the first time or looking to get back to victory lane, like Helio Castroneves and Will Power making up row number 1. Again, you're going to see a lot of Penske drivers right up front. J.R. Hildebrand, the only one that's breaking up that Penske domination. Josef Newgarden, most recent winner, when he was able to get to victory lane at Barber last week. Simon Pagenaud and Tony Kanaan. Pagenaud, the defending series champion. Mikhail Aloshin and Scott Dixon. I think we're going to see a lot of Mikhail Aloshin tonight and talk a lot about that young driver. Marco Andretti, a pretty impressive start for him in row 5 alongside Sebastian Bourdais, currently leading in the points.
These are the guys right here, Brian Hunter-Reay. They're going to try to make that outside move like he did last year. I wouldn't see those kind of moves from these guys a little bit further back, from about 8th to 10th.
I don't know, Paula. Watch Graham Rahal, really frustrated with qualifying. Rahal could be going big along with this guy on the last row, Ed Carpenter. He's got a very fast race car.
We're going to be able to ride along with a few different drivers, including Graham Rahal, the number 15. He has the United Rentals onboard camera with him. James Hinchcliffe will have the Lucas Oil onboard camera in that number 5. Mikhail Aloshin in the number 7 has the Aero on board. Tony Kanaan carries the NTT Data onboard camera in that number 10. And Helio Castroneves has a pretty good seat up front with the Verizon on board. And Scott Dixon will have the Verizon streaming onboard camera. You can go inside IndyCar all season. Download IndyCar Mobile from Verizon.
Keep your eyes, I think, on Marco Andretti. He's had such a rough season this year. Yesterday he had some mechanical problems. He had to roll back to the pits and fix something. He didn't get a qualifying lap. But this guy this year, Townsend, he's hungry, and you can tell he's driving at a much higher level than he has the last few years, and he's qualified pretty good. And I've seen him make some crazy moves, high bank tracks, Texas, Iowa. I think this guy's going to try to make a move on the start.
Got Brian Herta on the timing stand that moved over to coach Marco Andretti. He'll be trying to probably keep that driver calm, but further up, watch that blue NTT car with Tony Kanaan. He loves the high side.
It really is a beautiful evening for racing. The temperature has fallen below 80 degrees now. It's definitely breezy. It is windy.
It's a quick start. They're rolling pretty fast.
Yep, drivers working their way through the backstretch and through 3 and 4 as we get ready. Coming out of turn 4. Green flags in the air.
If you were further back, you had no chance. They were pretty spread out as they go side by side. Pagano making a move.
Oh, and they're rallying on turn 1. Hard contact
crash
into the wall.
Michaela Lotion loses it down low. Marco
and they're
Andretti's
piling
out.
into him.
Several cars taken out. Marco Andretti.
The guy who made the move on the start was J.R. Hildebrand, but Sebastian Bourdais here, big hit in the side pod.
Championship leader, Sebastian Bourdais.
And quite a few cars involved in this one didn't even get out of turn 2.
I knew it was going to be a slick track. We just had a sprint car race, a 100-lap feature sprint car race about an hour ago. The track is cooling off. They had different rubber that has been laid down on the track. And we don't know exactly who initiated this whole thing, but somebody lost it, and it just was a chain reaction.
It was the 7, Paul, I believe, Michaela Lotion down low. And it just got away from him instantly. And
look at all the
race
debris.
For Marco Andretti out.
Yeah, how disappointed has Marco Andretti been with this entire season? I know we're only into the 4th race, but he's shown brilliance. He's shown greatness in practice. He's done very well in qualifying, and then something has led to having just terrible finishes.
Graham Rahal's out of his car already. He's got damage. It's on the ground. He's got a flat tire, damage to the car, so he's going to end it.
Take a look at what happened. This is the initial start.
And up here is the 7 car of Michaela Lotion. Let's go ahead and roll here and see what happens. There goes a Lotion up ahead. And now he's going to just slide up the track. And Bourdais had nowhere to go. Hinchcliffe was coming down on Bourdais. No big deal. There would have been plenty of room had there not been a spinning car. Then down below, there's other people getting sideways. That's Marco Andretti. Not sure if he was hit, if he spun on his own. He probably had to just get on the brakes to check up.
Looked like McHale dove in here. Looked like he went. He's got Dixon on his side. He just lost it, flat out lost it. And he's had the eyes of the series chief steward on him. He's had some incidents with some other drivers this year and aggressive driving, and it just got away from him. Cold tires, slick track. Hunter Ray barely got around that, barely snuck by.
There were 4 wide behind him, and there's still guys coming in here that piled in.
Oh,
yeah, big
that was
hit
Graham
there.
Rahal trying to sneak through the middle of Max Chilton and the wrecking cars of Lotion and Marco Andretti. Here's a great shot from up above.
Yeah, he's got Dixon right on his hip there, and it just came out from under him.
So close for Rahal, almost getting through, and got tagged by McHale and sent him up into Marco Andretti. Riding along with Graham Rahal.
Low.
Oh, just trying to thread a needle.
We're out. I couldn't go any.
Both sides of the car got hit there.
Dale was thinking they were getting through, and then they didn't.
Dale was thinking that's expensive because Bourdais' car had a lot of damage, and that's the least funded team in the series right now, and they're leading the championship to the powerhouses like Ganassi and Penske, and he's the most underfunded team out there.
The initial start of the race, and there is debris everywhere as multiple cars involved in this first lap accident, including Sebastian Bourdais, the current point leader in the IndyCar Series. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by United Rentals, official equipment rental services provider of IndyCar, proud sponsor of Graham Rahal, and by Toyota. Let's go places. Earlier today, as part of their United Rentals Soldier Strong Turns for Troops program, Sergeant Dan Rose rode in the two-seater driven by Mario Andretti. Sergeant Rose was paralyzed from the chest down while serving with the Army in Afghanistan. Last year at Sonoma, Sergeant Rose stood with the team during the national anthem with the aid of a robotic exoskeleton. Marty.
Rick, you see Ryan Hunter-Reay leaving pit road with a fresh left rear tire, and that's the damage that he had from the incident earlier. Here's the restart of the start of the race, actually trying to go high like he's done here at Phoenix. We talked about that in the pre-race show. How he misses this wreck is incredible. He barely sneaks through that, but when Michael Oloshin made contact with his left rear pod, that did put the left rear tire down and had 3 pounds of pressure when they came down pit road. They only put a left rear tire on. It's a scuffed left rear tire, so they're hoping they could beat other guys coming off pit road who happened to come down pit road. So Ryan Hunter-Reay with a fresh left rear tire with air in it. That's a key part, Rick.
Yeah, a lot of cleanup continuing through turns 1 and 2 after many cars caught up. Michael Andretti taking a peek at some of the monitors to see just how bad the damage is as we ride along with James Hinchcliffe. He had a pretty tight view of what took place right in front of him. Watch every IndyCar on NBC race online, on tablet, and connected TV devices with the NBC Sports app. Download the app or find out more at NBCSports.com. A couple drivers have already been checked and released from the infield care center. Let's go down to Robin.
Mikhail, first of all, you okay? You took a couple hard hits, and then what happened?
I'm fine. Unfortunately, when I started turning into turn 1, I just felt that the rear of the car went, and I mean, I just couldn't do anything. It was when I had the full lock, I just understood that that's it. You know, I just cannot. I mean, it was just like a snap oversteer. I just couldn't do anything at this moment.
The guys in the booth were speculating, did the USAC cars rubber make it a little slicker, or were your tires up to temp? What do you think?
Well, it's hard to say because I know that USAC cars, they go normally all the way up on the track, and I stayed low, and I had enough of the gap between me and the car in front, but still I lost my rear of the car, and that was obviously my mistake. I don't know, maybe the tires were not in, maybe I didn't warm up them well or something else, but I'm sorry for the guys who obviously hit me as well, but you know, that's racing.
Good kid. Marty?
Robin, hard hit for Marco Andretti, and that's tough. Lap 1, turn 1. How quick was that reaction time?
Yeah, I want to be able to just finish a race, but yeah, I mean, you know, everybody's just trying to miss Mikhail, and you know, it was weird because it looked like he had more downforce than. Oh man, Ryan just missed it, or somebody. It looked like he had more downforce than most of us. So I don't know what happened to him, but I tried to spin to miss him. I kept it off the wall, and then I think my smoke is why Graham couldn't see, and then Graham hit me. So it's not ideal just seeing blue smoke and knowing that most of the field is coming right at you. So we lucked out.
Is this just a product of how tough it is to pass here? Everybody trying to make something happen here on lap 1?
No, I think it was a product of Mikhail losing it and us trying to avoid it. So I don't know. It's a bummer.
Marco obviously frustrated. Robin?
All right, Graham Rahal, what was your perspective, kid?
I didn't have one. I still haven't. I don't know what happened. I just know, you know, spotters yelling at me, go low, and I go low, and Chilton's spinning in front of me to the bottom. So the only choice I had was to go above him, and when he released the brake pedal, his car came back up the banking. Where do you go? I mean, all I could see was smoke. Legitimately, I don't even know what happened. I haven't seen a video, so all I know is, man, our luck right now. Need to go to New Orleans and find some voodoo dolls or something, because I'm not sure what the heck to do, but it's just, you know, spotters yelling at one thing, and, you know, there was no way to stop the car, obviously, on the banking, and where else do you go? You know, there's cars flying everywhere. Yeah, honestly, look, this is what happens when we qualify at the back like we have. We keep putting ourselves in compromising positions, and you know, our sponsors don't deserve this. All of our mechanics don't deserve this, and so you know, there's just a lot of work to be done ahead, I can tell you that. But yeah, you've been around this long enough, and PT, the rest of the guys know. I mean, there's just cases you go in, and you literally are just doomed. There's nowhere to get out of it. So I was just wrong place, wrong time. Where do you go? What do you do?
All right, we'll see you at Indy, kid. Rick?
Yeah, frustrated drivers. Again, didn't even get out of turn 1 and 2. Michael Lotion up the racetrack, collecting Sebastian Bourdais. We've heard from Marco Andretti as well as Graham Rahal.
Under caution at Phoenix for a 5-car crash at the start. The championship leader, Sebastian Bourdais, was the first to be collected. You were coming along Michael Lotion. When you see the guy in front of you spin like that, what are you thinking? What are you doing?
Nothing. You're just along for the ride. I mean, there was nothing I could do. I was too close to him to brake and get under, and then I think Marco was already in there anyway. So. It was, yeah, Ryan was going, Ryan cleared him, I guess. And, yeah, not much you can do.
I know you told me you're okay, but did you have to catch your breath a little bit? That was a big hit.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty big slap for sure. It's just a shame, you know, obviously you'd like to have a bit wiser moves on the starts like that, but everybody gets caught up in the moment, and, you know, we're just collateral damage, but obviously our Cernus barbecue Honda is taking probably the hardest hit of everybody, and it's busted on the left and the right side. We don't ever really have much stuff to recover from that, so unfortunately it's probably going to be the special Indy 500 car that's going to be coming in cycle next, and that's just not good news.
Thanks, Sebastian. Robin?
Max, you're okay. What happened from your perspective?
Yeah, I think I've made a pretty decent start for the 200 meters of which I had of a race. I was sort of tensing because I knew 4 wide is never a good thing on a short oval, high downforce. And Michael lost his car, which, you know, you only need 1 car to make a mistake at this speed, and it makes a disaster. And he pinned 2 up against the wall. They came bouncing back towards me. I just did the normal human reaction and steer away from it. I spun, and then as I came rolling back up the bank, it was, you know, a horrible experience. I then got collected from Rahal. Just frustrating way to end the day when you know, everyone's putting so much effort, but that's the problem when you have so much downforce and these races so predictable and boring. Everyone tries to overtake on lap 1.
Okay, brother, thanks. Rick?
We'll try it again. They're single file this time as they come out of 4, green flag back in the air. And now they bring the yellow out. No start.
We've seen that before out of Castroneves, Paul. Getting a little jumpy there in the restarts.
The initial start was a quick start. It was kind of spread out at the back. Guys were kind of tailed off way off the back. So Castroneves kind of wound it up there and had the final pace lap there going pretty quick. So I think they wanted a little bit tighter and a little slower. He's a little slower this time. You see everybody's nose to tail now.
Going to try it again. And this time it's green.
Move by Pagenaud down the front straightaway on Hildebrand. You got to jump on him. Hildebrand lets him go. Wise move, JR. Just settle in and get the race going. They all made it through turn 1, and look at this guy.
Battle for the lead. Will Power on the outside.
That's not Will Power. That's Josef Newgarden trying to get by his teammate and assert his championship.
And I think Newgarden just showing Castroneves and the rest of the field, I'm going to be a force all night long. Get ready.
Josef Newgarden falls back about 3 car lengths behind teammate Helio Castroneves. Will Power running 3rd. We mentioned Simon Pagenaud making the move up to 4th on that restart.
As the sun now is setting, it's cooling down. The wind has picked up some more. The flags now are straight out. So these guys are trying to settle in now, get a feel for the car. They got some weird rubber that's been laid down. Lap times right now, 19.9. So pretty good pace right now for Castroneves.
And guys, that move by Simon Pagenaud on the restart, pretty impressive. And that goes back to last year when Kyle Moyer, his strategist, sat him down and showed him some film. He said, the one thing we have to do, get better at restarts. And again today, Kyle had a meeting with Simon and said, remember the restarts. You have to be aggressive. You have to jump on it. And he did right there, and it got him a spot.
Pagenaud up to 4th.
Closing in on his teammate, Will Power. He's got a little run here. See if he can keep it tight here. That you're going to make your move as you come off of 4. You pretty much got to be tucked right up under the gearbox of the guy, which is difficult to do when you're running through the corners here at 190 miles an hour.
Because of the long yellow flag condition we had at the start of this race, strategy definitely is going to change now. It was going to be a 4-stop race, and now the potential for a 3-stop race is out there for some of these teams.
I think for sure with the number of yellow laps, 3 stops definitely on for a lot of these guys. But what I'll be watching here is how quickly the leaders catch lap traffic. I can tell already, last car in line, Carlos Munoz, still pretty fast. He's doing 20.6 to a 20.1 for Castroneves in the lead. That's only a half a second. What does that mean? When Castroneves catches the back of the field, it's going to be awfully hard. Things are going to stagnate, and that's where you're probably going to see guys start to, you know, make moves, try to dive inside, dive outside, and mix things up.
Castroneves pulling away from his teammate. He's got about a 1-second lead. Josef Newgarden is backed up to Will Power, and Simon Pagenaud has closed in on the back of Will Power. As we look at Ryan Hunter-Reay here, battling with Ed Carpenter. Ryan Hunter-Reay on the radio, he goes, I just don't know what's going on. I'm hating this season so far. He's so disappointed with the bad luck he's had.
He's bad about bad luck.
He could have been out of the race.
Well, Ed Carpenter had bad luck yesterday, had a fuel cell that was leaking, so he had very little time on the track, and then went out in qualifying, didn't have the performance that he wanted to have. But I talked to him before the drivers' meeting today, and he said, you know what, we're okay. I was here at the test. We were good at the test. We'll be fine.
Well, he'll be fine as long as he can figure out as this race goes on, how do I pass another car? This is Chevy versus Honda. Hunter-Reay in the Honda, Carpenter in the Chevy. And they think the Chevys are a little stronger here. I agree with that, but how do you get by? It's tough to make a move.
I'll tell you what, he started 16th on that restart because he was the only car to pit, and he's back up to 11th now, and he's catching the 83. But he's got Ed Carpenter right on him too, so Ed's having a good race as well because he started dead last.
Ryan Hunter-Reay working on Charlie Kimball there in the black and green car. Charlie Kimball, a little bit of gap to the car in front of him, which is Alexander Rossi. Now we start to see a little bit of that proactive defense that we anticipated in this race.
Ed had a nice run off the corner, and Ryan Hunter-Reay kind of pulled to the middle of the track and kind of gave him that Pruitt fade and kind of blocked the momentum. So got to watch that. I know they're watching that tonight. The chief steward said they don't want to see moving around on guys and trying to defend positions tonight.
You can't officially or intentionally block someone.
Scott Pruitt sitting at home wondering if that's a haircut or a driving move, the Pruitt fade. You've been giving him a hard time these last couple races.
Hey, he's a pro, man. He's a pro.
Take another look at what we're talking about here.
See, he comes off the corner. Ed's got to run, and you see him move over.
That's legal.
Move back.
That's all good. As long as you're in anticipation of, you're proactive and not reactive, I don't think you'll fall within the review of race control.
And again, these two are fighting for the 11th spot. Ryan Hunter-Reay has it. Ed Carpenter trying to get it. And this is Ed Carpenter's first start of 2017. He doesn't race on the street or road courses, just the ovals.
And I'll tell you what, he's doing a good job because he's been out of a car for a long, long time. And these guys have done a lot of testing. They got miles under their belt. A lot of these guys have run 24-hour races in the winter. So Ed moving up through the field, and he's been out of a car for well over 6 months.
But this field is so tight right now. The leader, Castroneves, is doing the exact same late lap time as the last place car, Carlos Munoz. They're within a 1/10 of a second. In years gone by, you'd see the leader already catch lap traffic at this point. So we look at the Chevrolet
speed.
driver update there. Castroneves first, Newgarden second, Hildebrand fifth, 1 through 5th, all Chevy power.
Penske flexing their muscle here at the front of this field. Helio Castroneves out in front. It was a year ago Helio Castroneves won the pole here, set the track record, and we all thought, you know, what an amazing feat it was for him. And now at 41 years old, he comes back out and just blows away the old track record that he had. Nearly 195 miles an hour as we take a look at the Firestone telemetry.
Really interesting to watch clean air here, Paul. That's fully off the throttle, so coasting it through turns 1 and 2. And I think he's probably just saying, as long as I stay ahead of the car behind, there's really no sense to push it at this point.
It's really just, he's probably trying to save a little bit of fuel as well, manage his tires, and just keep a gap to the guy behind him and not catch lap traffic. So he's just basically pacing himself and not putting himself in a situation where now when he catches the cars behind, he's got to start racing them, because they're not going to want to go down a lap. So he's going to have to race them hard to get by. Ed Carpenter here making a move again. He's got the pressure on Ryan Hunter-Reay. Ryan is not able to draw up close to the target, or to the Ganassi car, and he's got Ed all over the back. Another good run coming off the corner.
Marty.
Fun little battle to watch here, guys. Ryan Hunter-Reay trying to hang on to that position in the 11th spot right now. He just radioed to Michael Andretti, said, I'm pushy loose. They're going to make a wing adjustment on this next stop. But even after what happened on lap 1, they've made a nice little recovery and gained 3 spots since this restart, Rick. But that position is under challenge right now from Ed Carpenter.
Yeah, Ed Carpenter's been all over that back wing of Ryan Hunter-Reay. Ryan Hunter-Reay, so good on the initial start. He made it 4 wide. He was able to skirt through the problems that took place. Helio Castroneves out in front. He's not looking back. Second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs resumes tomorrow at 3 Eastern on NBC. It's Game 3 between the St. Louis Blues and Nashville Predators. Then on NBCSN at 7, the Ducks and Oilers face off in Edmonton. A gorgeous sunset here in the Phoenix area as we continue on with the Phoenix Grand Prix. It started with a caution right in turns 1 and 2, accident right away. That's the 3rd race this season. There's only been 4, but the 3rd race this season that has started with a caution on lap 1.
Well, the bad thing for that caution, it was 5 Team Honda cars with Delotion, Andretti, Bourdais, Chilton, and Rahal, and that's a big hit for their championship points. The top Honda right now is this guy right here, Tony Kanaan, who is being chased by Scott Dixon and Hinchcliffe. So those are the main Honda runners, and the other guys, they've lost 5 cars in that first lap accident.
And Paul, he's best in class so far, and Kanaan came in with a lot of confidence. Remember, he's won 2 times and finished 3rd and 4th in his other 2 starts, and he said, we got the band back together. There was an engineering change. The 83 and the 10 engineers swapped, so that means that Eric Cowden is back with Kanaan, and that's Eric right there. 15 of Kanaan's 17 wins have come with Cowden as his engineer. In fact, they go so far back. We were talking earlier in pre-race about Helio Castroneves and Kanaan getting their start. They first tested for Steve Horn at Firebird in 1995. That was Eric Cowden's first day working in Indy-style racing. He started that day, so he's been with Kanaan since the very beginning. Katie.
Kevin, we're going to move back to Alexander Rossi, who on that restart restarted behind Charlie Kimball, and he was not happy about that. Let's check out some radio from him.
Oh, Ryan, go high for the start. Did it work? No, that's what caused all that. They went 4 wide. It's not worth the risk and worth the reward on that, especially with Kimball in front of us. Just want to get rid of him as fast as I can.
So we've seen a lot of problems with Charlie Kimball. We know that he didn't finish St. Pete or Long Beach, but Rossi was able to make that a clean pass. Marty?
And Katie, we go out front with Helio Castroneves, the leader, and you guys are right. He is just pacing himself with his teammate Josef Newgarden every lap. Roger Penske reading that gap, right? You see it above there, 1.3 seconds right back to Newgarden for those top 2 Team Penske cars. The leaders will pit around lap 75 or so, but we'll see some guys come down pit road a little bit earlier, around lap 68. So it's going to be interesting. This first stop coming up soon, Rick.
Well, all the talk of lap traffic, guys, forget it. Munoz, last car in the field, is still only 10 seconds back. He's turned several laps faster than Castroneves. So lap traffic really not a factor at this point, Paul. These Firestones are lasting a long time.
Castroneves, though, is holding a nice lead because he's got a 1.3 second lead, and then 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, they're all within a second. So you see these cars right here, and then there's a gap to Dixon. So these 5 cars right here are all within a second. And here we see Scott Dixon, who's just probably chilling out here, waiting, biding his time. It's all going to be about tonight. It's going to be about how fast you are on this warm-up lane where you have to pit right here and go through the warm-up lane. I'll do a little teleprompter on the next lap if we stay on board. It's going to be about in and out laps on cold tires and how fast your pit crew is. As we see Scott Dixon come down the back straightaway, as he get through the dogleg, he's going to peel off over here and take this warm-up lane. And if you can get through that warm-up lane faster than the other guys, you will beat them on the out lap.
Diction was able to get the win at this race last year. Marty.
And Rick, to PT's point, pit stops are going to be very critical today. Remember, Will Power slid through his stall here last year. Might have cost him a shot at the win. Meanwhile, the leader, Helio Castroneves, just told his team on the radio, I have a vibration. They don't seem too panicked down here in the Helio pits. But remember the last year, Helio and his teammate, Juan Pablo Montoya, lost right front tires here at Phoenix while they were leading. So the team is, again, not too panicked about it down here, but he did just report a vibration.
Well. It started out last year about 40 laps into the race, Townsend. He complained about a vibration. He got a blister on that shoulder of the tire. It came apart. Same thing for Juan Pablo Montoya. Could we be having that same setup issue again?
Possibly. Obviously, the Penske setup from last year worked that right front extremely hard. I can only think that they've learned from that and made some adjustments. But think about this, guys. All this single file running, what that does is rubber up the single groove, and it makes offline really dirty. So when we get into either a restart or a chance for a pass, it's going to be very difficult to get by.
Hildebrand here has a run, a nice run.
Jerry Hildebrand trying to get by Simon Pagenaud.
The other thing is when we get into green flag stops here, which it looks like we will, hitting that pit entry lane, that's dirty and unknown, especially for your leaders. They really have nothing to measure themselves against. It's going to be, flying blind going in there in anger.
Got Connor Daly here making an outside pass on Ed Carpenter, and Ed has been pretty strong, so that's a strong move by Connor Daly. So I wonder what's going on with Ed, because he was right behind Hunter Ray, and now he's lost touch with him. First pit stop.
Coming up, here comes James Hinchcliffe on pit road.
And Rick, it's awfully slow going 50 miles an hour down pit road when you're doing 195 on the racetrack. Hinch coming to a stall. He said his car actually pretty good on older tires. They were pretty happy with it. They said, do you want a wing change? He said no, but they are going to make an air pressure change, trying to get that car to be a little bit tighter. He said a little bit free in the corners for James Hinchcliffe. Honda's come to pit road first. They were thinking they might have to stretch the fuel, but Hinch, the first one on pit road.
Watch these guys as they leave now. They won't take the outside lane. They're going to run the shortest route around the track, as we see Pagenaud made a move on Power right here coming off of turn 3 and 4. Got a run. Will Power let him go through. So watch these guys when they leave the pits. Oh, look at the big run that JR got coming off the corner as well. So
green flag stop at Phoenix. You're going to lose about 40 seconds, almost 2 laps you can go down, as we look for Hinchcliffe coming back in, and he's 1 lap down, almost 2 laps down at the back of the field. So, like you said, Paul, the out and the in laps, so critical.
And again, you mentioned the fact that these drivers are going from around 195 miles an hour all the way down to 50 miles an hour on pit road. But that entrance to pit road, they've got to come down on that apron in turns 3 and 4.
Scott Dixon now in the pits. So the Hondas are pitting early to the Chevys.
And PT, we thought the Hondas might try to stretch it, and they were going to think about a 3-stop race if they could stretch it that far. We thought that caution might open that window for the Hondas, but coming in very early. Scott Dixon's been fairly happy with the car, but kind of mired back in traffic. It's going to be those new tires going on for Dixon. We'll see if they make a wing change. They do make a big wing change for Scott Dixon in that 9 car.
Here comes Tony Kanaan.
He wants only an air pressure change, otherwise pretty good. Best running Honda so far for Kanaan. The NTT data car has fresh Firestones and Sunoco fuel, and he's gone, Marty.
Ryan Hunter-Reay, after barely missing that accident on lap 1 in turn 1, you're going to see a big wing change here. He said the car was absolutely terrible. They made a huge wing change. They tried to get 2 rounds in the wing. I think they only got 1 round, so not quite what he wanted. Helio Castroneves, leader, coming down pit road. No mention of that vibration after he did mention it the very first time. Will Power coming down pit road, 4 tires, waiting on the fuel for Helio Castroneves, and a wing change as well.
J.R. Hildebrand on pit road now at 21. Again, he has a broken left hand that he is racing with tonight. We see Will Power slide into his spot.
Rick, on the racetrack, Will Power had just lost the third position to his teammate Simon Pagenaud. 7-5 on the stop for Will Power. He said, I don't want any wing changes. Everything I need to do, I can handle inside the car with the tools I have here. Simon Pagenaud still to come to pit road here. He was running third when he does come down pit road.
There's Josef Newgarden in the hump by Verizon colors. He wanted to change. Car is not handling as well as he wants it to. So a front wing adjustment. Newgarden said it's going to be tough to pass. So you've got to make up a spot when you can on pit road.
Kyle Moyer and Simon Pagenaud felt like they had a car that was very good on the older tires. Again, getting around their teammate a moment ago. They're going to make a very small wing adjustment, and that's it. Get the 4 fresh tires. 7-8 on the stop for the reigning champion.
Cycling through these green flag pit stops.
Big change there. Will Power just flashed right by his teammate as well as Castro Neves. Right now, I think Power is in the lead effectively. We've got a couple cars that haven't pitted. We'll see as they cycle around, but I think Power on that pit stop exchange took the lead. So he had the fastest in and out laps, and he went from 4th now into the lead. And Newgarden went from 2nd back to 4th, so that shows you who was quick. Hinchcliffe made a jump now into the top 5. Dixon lost a spot to him, and Hildebrand dropped all the way down to 7th from running 4th.
Still, Penske 1, 2, 3, 4. As we said before the race, these guys are going to duke it out. No team orders, no cooperation, every man for himself.
Great pit stops by all the teams of Team Penske, but it's Will Power who's out front now leading that fantastic foursome. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Polaris Razor. Fuel your freedom. 250 laps scheduled for the Verizon IndyCar Series. They have completed 88 on lap 89 and now 90. And out in front, it is Will Power.
Big move by Hildebrand, wails it down the inside of Scott Dixon. That was huge.
That was with authority. I'm not sure if Dixon had a big issue out of 4, but Hildebrand is charging through the field. Up next, James Hinchcliffe, another Honda, coming right into the clutches of a Chevrolet.
Hildebrand was dogging Dixon for about 6 or 7 laps, looking for a way around, and he just went by and said, I'm done, I'm going by. And he's now, all of a sudden, he's right on the back of Hinchcliffe. Watch for him. He's really strong through 3 and 4. Watch him to make a move down the front straightaway.
J.R. Hildebrand, very impressive as a scholar. He was actually a National Merit Scholar. California native, was accepted out of high school with a 4.12 GPA to UCLA, Berkeley, and MIT. Was J.R. Hildebrand, but he decided racing was where he wants to go.
Run.
Look at this.
Yeah, another nice pull. Nice run off of turn 2. Wow, no blocking by James Hinchcliffe, so that was nice, clean driving by these 2 young future stars of the sport.
Well, Josef Newgarden has dropped a couple of spots. He was running 2nd before the round of pit stops, and we were hearing on the radio that he may have a problem with damage to his front wing. Tim Cindric is calling the race. Any idea what's going on with the wing, and will you have to change it?
No, I don't think so. At this point in time, it's pretty minor, but the outside bit of the wing, maybe he got into it with Elio there on the first couple laps, but we didn't notice it until the first pit stop.
How much is it impacting him?
Certainly creating a bit more understeer, which is troublesome for him, but we'll just keep putting a bit more front wing in and see what happens. But it's not worth changing the wing for him.
Thank you, Tim. Katie.
Kevin, we saw Connor Daly start 20th and work his way into the top 10, but after that last pit stop, he came over the radio and could not shift. The team has to rear off that car, trying to figure out what's going on inside that gearbox. We'll try to keep you updated, Rick.
Unfortunate for Connor Daly, 25-year-old out of Noblesville, Indiana. That's just north of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Think about that.
I was looking, I'm eyeballing this car, and it looks, Townsend, like the inside barge board here might be broken. It's kind of bent way out to the side.
Yep.
It looks like it might have been cracked, and it's kind of bent over further than normal. Maybe it's an optical illusion to me, but that's the only thing that I can notice that looks out of line.
You're right. There's damage at the base of that vertical fin. But as Tim Cindric said, right now for Josef Newgarden, it's
I see it right there. We'll get a nice slow-mo here. You can see that barge board right here. It's shaking and moving around, so what he's got damage.
Newgarden needs to do is soften up that front bar, work the weight jacker to the left front, hang in there until you can get to the next round of pit stops. Let your Penske guys add more front wing angle with the knob on the top of the front nose.
Well, that thing's broken good enough that with the speeds are running around here, 200 miles an hour on the straightaway, it might end up breaking off of there, and that'll really change the handling. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but it's a possibility.
And if that wing on the left side breaks off, they're going to have to change the front.
Well, and they're going to have to go to yellow as well, because it'll be on the track somewhere.
Well, you do that under a pit stop, green or yellow flag stop, you're going to the back of the field. And we saw that at Barber with the Penske team, right? With Power with the tire going down, debating whether to stop or not. Marty? Sorry, Kevin.
Listening to Josef Newgarden, he said it's really bad understeer, and Tim Cindric is trying to coach him through to hang on through this one. We'll make not only the wing adjustment, but also an air pressure adjustment when we get to the next one.
Castroneves still hanging tough on the back of his teammate. He's a half a second behind Power. Pagano is right on the back of his teammate. Newgarden has kind of fallen off the back there, about a second behind these guys. So Hildebrand is making his way back up now. He's gotten by Hinchcliffe and back up into 5th place, which is where he was running at the beginning of the stops.
Five Chevys as we look at the pit in and pit out laps.
And that's why Will Power is leading right now.
Absolutely.
He had the best in and out laps.
Dominated. I mean, 0.3 of a second on the way in, 0.3 of a second on the way out, and 0.6 of a second on a track where you're going this fast is several positions.
So again, it's Will Power out front. Helio Castroneves, Simon Pagenaud, Josef Newgarden. They are the top 4. Gerald Hildebrand has been the man on the move in that 21 as he's closed the gap between himself and Newgarden now.
And then, Paul, like you said, it's a big gap now back to Hinchcliffe, the first Honda. So Chevy's just really exercised their authority there with a nice gap. And it's going to be those 5 cars, I believe, sorting it out at the finish.
Hildebrand getting a run. He's really strong right now. His car is really handling well because he's battled his way back up from 7th, 8th.
And if you're
caught the lead Penske cars.
Josef Newgarden right now, what you need to do is just try to manage not burning up the front tire. If you've got a lot of understeer from that front wing damage, you can see pretty big radius there from Newgarden. That was a nice angle as he went through turn 1. Just don't burn up the front tires at the same time. Try not to lose the position. It's so hard to get it back.
These two guys right here, they came up through Indy Lights. They've run against each other a lot. They've raced each other hard a lot. So they've got a lot of experience, both of these two guys, Newgarden and Hildebrand, racing each other.
Surprisingly, though, young Hildebrand, the 29-year-old, has never raced at Phoenix. This is his first Phoenix start in the IndyCar.
But this is where he got his start with a test.
Yes.
With Panther Racing way back 10 years ago probably now, and he was so impressive at this oval, and that's what really led to him securing the job with Panther Racing to start his IndyCar career.
There's the gap once again between 4th and 5th. Josef Newgarden just in front of J.R. Hildebrand.
Yeah, Josef will have a little bit of understeer with this. There's no way you can really ever correct it once the front wing is damaged. You just kind of have to deal with it. And he's got another run. JR's got another nice run here. He's just not close enough, but I think he's definitely going to make a move here in the next few laps.
You know, one thing I wonder, guys, on the pit stop, does it make sense for Newgarden's crew to just try to rip off that piece to clean up the airflow? I wonder if an aerodynamicist somewhere is thinking about just ripping that piece off. Yeah, run the numbers, and they might be able to figure out that that is disrupting the airflow, and they'd be better off just ripping it off.
And again, you know, Paul, you mentioned the speeds that they're carrying on the straightaways, 200 miles an hour. So any little diversion of the air where it's supposed to be going is definitely affecting the way they enter and exit turns.
I talked to Will Power this afternoon after the drivers' meeting. I asked him what was the max speed and what was the minimum speed for a 194-mile-an-hour average lap. He said it was 200 down the straight, and the minimum speed was in turn 2 in the center of the corner was 192.
That's the slowest they were going, 192. Remember, they're turning laps, so they were turning laps when they were running at that speed, under 19 seconds. So they were going a mile in under 19 seconds.
And now we're seeing Will Power just start to catch the tail end of the field. That's Ed Carpenter up there, circulating, frankly, about the same pace as Will Power, just slightly slower. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Who's in front of Ed Carpenter? Rookie Ed Jones, his first IndyCar oval race.
This is where things will get interesting because you're under no obligation to give up the lead lap the first time. Once you're lapped and the leader comes around, then it's kind of, you're supposed to let the guy go by. But Ed Carpenter here can fight as hard as he wants to stay on the lead lap.
Well, and he'll fight really hard knowing that if a yellow comes out, he gets a lot more breathing room and a chance to make some moves.
And again, the first pit stops happened around lap 70 to 75, 76. We would expect the next pit stops to happen around lap 130. So you're looking about maybe 15 laps away, maybe under, for the next green flag pit stops. Power still out front. Will Power's start to the 2017 season has been rocky. At St. Pete, ran over the gun. That's a penalty. He's back on pit road. Then struggled to get back up to speed once he was back out on the track. The woes continued. First lap of Long Beach into the wall. Had to put a new front end on that car. And then Barber. You guys both thought he's got this one wrapped up. Stay out, but there was a puncture.
Hey guys, James Hinchcliffe just came down pit road. He is leaving pit road much earlier than we expected. We're going to go check because that should be an unscheduled stop for James Hinchcliffe. And a lot of teams are talking about possibly trying to stretch this on 2 more stops, Townsend. I don't think you believe that math, but I'm being told by some of the strategists down here, if they get another caution, it's feasible to do it. Obviously, Hinch could not do it, but some teams saving so much fuel, they think they might be able to do it.
Yeah, you're right, Marty. 2 more stops to the end, making a 3-stop race. Hinchcliffe did pit about 6 or 7 laps earlier than the rest of the field, so he is on schedule there, but it's going to be tough for Hinch now to make it on 1 more.
J.R. Hildebrand has gotten around Newgarden, and he's closed the gap right down onto Pagano. Now Newgarden is completely out of the picture, so he's lost the handle now. And look at this guy, Hildebrand. He's all over the back of these Penske team cars now.
Hildebrand able to get by Newgarden now, putting his sights on Pagano.
We're going to get a replay of this pass. He just had a nice run through 3 and 4, closing the gap, and that's a perfect textbook pass. His car's handling good because he was able to hold a nice tight line, and it was game over once he was off the corner.
Has to be frustrating for Newgarden with that wing damage. As fast as they're going through the corners here, any little damage really affects the balance of the car. He's just trying to hang on until they can get to pit lane.
Yeah, amazingly enough, when you're turning a lap at 194 miles an hour, an average at 194. The slowest you're going at any point on the track is 192 miles an hour.
So right now, it looks like Hildebrand is probably the strongest handling car, fastest car on the track, but it's just tough to get by. But he is the only guy in the field that's been passing cars and fast cars that are at the front of the pack.
Yeah, that's the key right there. He's passing the cream of the crop right now.
Yep.
He's up there running against the best and trying to get by.
But the difference maker, I think, is going to be those in and out laps. And I think we've got more information up here as Dixon comes to pit lane than the strategists do down in the pits, Marty.
And guys, Scott Dixon coming down pit road very slowly at 50 miles an hour. Ryan Hunter-Reay in a pit right behind him. Dixon's just had too much understeer in the car. They did make it better on this run, but still just not where he wants it. It's going to be an air pressure change, trying to get that car to free up a little bit. 7.6 on the south for Scott Dixon. Ryan Hunter-Reay leaving pit road as well with a car that is still very ill handling, Kevin.
And Alexander Rossi also in the pits. He was dealing with a vibration on that last stint. The team is hoping that just new tires will fix that. Rick?
So a lot of action taking place on pit road now.
So critical. You see these burnouts when these guys, we see Josef Newgarden come in with this broken wing. When they do a burnout, you can turn the tire, Kevin, and then put it out of balance.
And let's watch and see if they try to rip off that piece off the left front. No, they just add a lot of wing to it, and Newgarden is away with Sunoco fuel.
That was like 3 turns of front wing, Townsend, 2 turns of front wing. As we see Tony leave the pits, What I was saying is when you do a burnout with these tires, you can turn the tire on the rim and put the tire out of balance from where it was balanced. 98, we've just heard that he's hit the wall.
Had the same issue last year.
Still out, stay at the bottom, get to the bottom. Stay on the bottom.
You see the lettering is wiped off of the tires, so he got into the wall.
Outside.
Doesn't look like they're going to go yellow for it. He might have just brushed the wall and kept going. This will put him multiple laps down with no yellow.
Probably knocked the toe out severely for him to be circulating that slow. Let's see what happened here. Alexander Rossi coming through turn 4. He's got his teammate Ryan Hunter-Reay, gets high up in the gray.
Yeah.
And there's the marbles I talked about earlier. As we get deeper into this race, it gets dirtier and dirtier offline. That's exactly like what happened to him.
This is not a good track for Rossi. He had a big crash in preseason testing here, and basically the exact same accident that you just saw.
And they're
finished his race last year. Probably going to have a bent toe link here.
Yeah, right rear guy pointing.
Switch it off. We're going to have to replace the bits here, but we'll fix it.
Looking at the suspension on that right rear.
And he'll go many laps down under green flag conditions here, sitting in the pits
Here's
like
our
that.
leader.
Here
Here's
comes
our
Will
leader
Power.
in the pit lane. Hall and Butt around the bottom. Pagano stays out. So we're going to see what happens. Castro Neves follows him in, as well as Hildebrand. So
And Hildebrand will be first to get into his pit stall, Katie.
Rick, and he's been the only one that's even been able to come close to breaking up the Penske party, and all with a broken hand, but not yet one complaint from J.R. Hildebrand. They're going to put some new Firestone. Oh, and we have a yellow. The pits are closed, all while J.R. Hildebrand has just made his stop, and that will be for Takuma Sato. Rick?
Yep, Takuma Sato hard into the wall.
Huge.
And sideways there.
that is really
Pagano.
That is really going to kill Pagano. That's going to put Pagano to the back of the field now and put him out of contention. So let's see where these guys cycle out.
I don't know, Paul, because does Pagano go a lap ahead because they were all in pit lane?
I think it went yellow too quick. I don't think he had enough time to gain a lap on the field.
Our monitors were showing that there were only 3 cars on the lead lap. We'll have to find out once that all cycles through. Those 3 cars were Pagano, Power, and Castro Neves.
Knocked both of these rims off. He must have hit the wall hard, because I've never seen a tire completely come off the bead like that on the front and the wheel still be intact.
Taking a look here at Takuma Sato, same thing as Rossi. Cold tires out of the pits, up in the gray, and just wallops the turn 4 wall.
That was really odd.
And there's Pagano coming through turn 4 as his teammates, I think you're right, Paul, were just exiting pit lane. So we'll have to see where it cycles back through.
That is really strange, that accident with Sato. I've never seen a front tire like that come off the bead, yet the wheel still all be intact and not smashed.
He'll be taking a trip to the infield care center.
See
to get
here,
checked
you
out,
see
but
the tire is pushed right off the bead. It's a complete rim exposed. I've never seen that before. And the suspension is not even really damaged right here. It's not like he hit the wall and the suspension's broken.
Yeah. I wonder if
the tire went down.
I wonder if he
something.
turned the wheel hard enough to where the sidewall contacted the wall first instead of the rim sort of flush against the wall. As we say that, timing and scoring showing Simon Pagano a lap up on the field, so he'll be able to pit under yellow, and he would stay a lap up on the field, but at the back of the pack. So we're watching. Here's Sato going to get into the fence, already into the fence, coming down the front straight, and there's Pagano coming around in turn 4. There's J.R. Hildebrand, I think, in the pits right there, and that means his Penske teammates, Pagano's Penske teammates, would be on pit lane. So Pagano's a lap up on the field. How do you like that?
Well, I'm confused. I'm confused right now because usually when you get caught by the yellow, it really ruins your race. So I'm
not on a short oval.
Yeah.
I can tell you guys, I'm not going to straighten it out for you. I think Kyle Moyer down here, the strategist for Simon Pagano, also a little confused. They're talking about it on the radio, but here he is, all by his lonesome on pit road. Going to be 4 fresh tires. They said the car was better on that run, although they still have a little bit of understeer. You saw the very small wing adjustment. Simon Pagano leaves pit road, and in theory, on his very own lap, Rick.
Yeah, but as we mentioned, the field is going to be in front of him, so they're all going to be shown as on the lead lap when they start, but the second he crosses the start-finish line, then everybody else will be a lap down.
Correct. Massive advantage for Pagano.
Yeah.
I'm still confused.
You forgot to carry the 1.
Yeah, you got to carry the 1. Whenever you do math, always make sure to carry the 1. And right now, the 1 is the defending series champion, Simon Pagenaud, in the 1. And he is the race leader. He'll be at the back of the field, though, because everybody else is fighting to stay on the lead lap. Simon Pagenaud will be leading when we come back. At the top of the show, we were hoping you wouldn't have to do math, but at some point in time, math comes into play. And we told PT that you got to carry the 1. Well, the 1 gets carried forward, but at the same time, the field gets the wave around. So with the field getting the wave around, we're going to have multiple cars on the lead lap.
Did you have to go scientific calculator on that one?
I think there's a button that I don't even know what the name of it is. But this right here is where Simon Pagenaud gets the lead. He takes the lead away, and while these cars are on pit road, the caution comes out. So drivers like Will Power, Helio Castroneves, J.R. Hildebrand, Josef Newgarden, all of those drivers were on pit road when the caution came out. Pagenaud had the lead, but they get the wave around and will be able to come back behind Simon Pagenaud.
But Dixon, Hinchcliffe, Kanaan all now one lap down. Ouch.
So the cars that were on pit road, it was a benefit for them. A big benefit, obviously, for Simon Pagenaud because he was able to keep the lead that he had when the caution came out.
This right here is a smart move. Now that there's only 5 cars on the lead lap, Josef Newgarden's going to peel off under yellow, put a fresh front wing on, make the adjustments he wants, and then only not lose any positions and still be in 5th place.
But at the
You called it, PT. It was a debate that was just decided about 30 seconds ago, and you can hear Josef. Will they change tires? We'll watch and see. Right now, they're not planning on doing that. They're going to top off. They're going to change that wing. They had a long conversation about what actually is the problem. Josef was asking, is it going to get worse? No, we don't think it's going to get any worse. You're just losing a little bit of downforce. But now, we've got a brand new ball game for Josef Newgarden, who has been strong in the test, strong all weekend, and he's ready to fight again for a win, and only 5 cars on the lead lap.
So you would never do that if there was 18 cars on the lead lap because you'd lose all your track position.
But
so very, very smart call.
The problem, though, and I guess the reason you're going to debate this heavily is you have 10 lapped cars between yourself and fourth place, J.R. Hildebrand, and it's not going to be that easy.
No,
it's not as if these lap cars are slow.
No, it's not going to be easy, but now he's got a fixed car, and he's going to come back in and probably top up and take fuel, which could put him in a different scenario for the end of the race if this thing turns into a fuel mileage race. If they're trying to do it on 2 more stops, these guys, they could put themselves in the winner's circle right here by topping up on these yellows.
Yeah, well, he'll need 1 more stop at this point to make it to the end. So smart move here, taking fresh Firestones, and he'll be very racy on this restart with fresh rubber.
But even as many cautions as we've had, can't the other 4 guys that are on the lead lap, can't they make it on maybe 1 more stop? I mean, if they stretch it?
Yes, they should be able to.
Yeah. So now it's Simon Pagenaud that's out in front. Will Power, Castroneves, J.R. Hildebrand, and Josef Newgarden.
Here's the thing. With Newgarden having maybe 10 more laps under yellow of fuel, if you will, there's a difference between making it on 1 more stop lean and making it on 1 more stop rich on fuel burn. And that's the advantage for Newgarden, meaning he can run full max power, use as much fuel as he needs to, and fight his way to the front. So it's going to be a fascinating finish as we see these different strategies all converge coming down the stretch.
Well, we still got a long way to go. We got 100 laps, so still a lot of racing left. We burned up 25 laps under yellow right off the bat, so we really only had 125 laps of racing so far.
They can do 100 laps in about 20
I was going to say, it comes fast around here.
It goes really fast. Back to the green flag, and Simon Pagenaud, big move on the restart.
Big move by Kanaan. He's sliced by Hinchcliffe.
How about Hunter Ray getting racy, trying to get his lap back, looking around the outside of Will Power.
A lot of guys fighting to get the lap back.
This is a problem for Will Power. You don't want to get too racy with these guys that are a lap down, but you can't give up position either. So he's going to have to race these guys, and his teammate is out front. Will Power makes a move down on the inside of Hinchcliffe.
And again, Will Power running second to Simon Pagenaud.
Yeah, you can't get stuck racing all these guys and let your teammate get away, as we see.
Didn't take him long, Paul. Josef Newgarden charging back to the front. Now he's already working on J.R. Hildebrand. Is that possible? Wow.
Yeah, they're on the same lap, so he's now fighting for position. That's a battle for the fourth. And just in front of them, the 3 of Helio Castroneves. And look at this move.
Whoa. Got the door shut, slammed shut on him, so Hunter-Reay took a look down the inside of Hinchcliffe, who just got passed, and now he's going to get passed by Castroneves, Hunter-Reay, as he slides down the inside, but he got his momentum killed. He got the door slammed shut by Hinchcliffe, and then now he's got Hildebrand making a move.
Here comes Newgarden.
Josef Newgarden in the 2, trying to get by the 21.
That was like a hand in the cookie jar, Paul, with Hunter-Reay.
It was. Hunter-Reay was at the back of the field at the beginning of the race with the flat tire, and he's up to 9th now, so he's recovering. But again, he is a lap down as Hildebrand's got a run on him. Don't know. He got by. Yeah, he slid by on the inside.
Just let him by, looking back there. J.R. Hildebrand charging to the front. Now Newgarden must be feeling, I need to get by right now.
Here comes Josef Newgarden. He looks to the inside. He'll take the spot back.
Hunter-Reay just getting freight trained by these guys. It just kills your momentum. When a guy goes by, it kills your momentum. And now he's got another car, Ed Carpenter, which is for position, breathing all over the back of him.
Chevy versus Honda, and right now Chevy is just continuing to exercise authority here. Look at JR backs off of Hinchcliffe. He's trying to get a run down the back straight now.
And again, Hildebrand running 4th on the lead lap. Hinchcliffe not on the lead lap. He's scored a lap down.
Josef Newgarden has closed the gap back to Hildebrand. Hildebrand's got a nice run here. He's going to get him.
Little run, looking inside.
And when you get past like that, that breathe that Hinchcliffe has to give it, Paul, you just lose momentum for the next lap. And here's Newgarden, and that's the result. You're going to get taken once a lap if you lose the momentum.
And you'll see Hunter-Reay now. That momentum that Hinchcliffe just lost, you'll see Hunter-Reay now chasing down on the back of him again.
There was no action taken on Ryan Hunter-Reay in the 28 as far as they were checking to make sure he wasn't blocking or impeding the progress.
I was watching him a little bit. He was doing a little bit of the Pruitt fade. He was just kind of fading over and kind of making it difficult. But he was also getting freight trained every lap. Every corner he was getting passed by somebody.
The Pruitt fade.
Oh, poor Scott Pruitt. No chance to be on camera and defend himself.
The last man with a microphone always wins. Ed Carpenter in the 20, chasing after Ryan Hunter-Reay. And again, 5 cars on the lead lap after the caution comes out for Takuma Sato. It is Simon Pagenaud out in front, still yet to win in 2017. Formula One Russian Grand Prix. We'll see an all-Ferrari front row after Sebastian Vettel edged teammate Kimi Räikkönen for pole position by less than 1/10 of a second. It's the Russian Grand Prix tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern on NBCSN. Gorgeous night of racing under the lights in the Phoenix Grand Prix. It didn't start off great. Lap number 1, it was a wreck fest. 5 cars caught up in that issue. Let's go down to Marty.
And Rick, let's go through the field, starting with Simon Pagenaud. And you have to remember, just a couple of years, this man had never driven on an oval. Kyle Moorer told me his oval improvement really reminds me of Tony Kanaan and how much he improved when I worked with him. Simon Pagenaud out on the lead here at Phoenix. Will Power's back in the 2nd position, and they're going to pit like around 2:07 or so is when you'll see these leaders pitting. Will Power 19th, 13th, 14th so far this year. Nobody in the field wants to win more than this guy, and he's had the car to win in all 3 races as well. Speed-wise, can they pull it off here tonight? Helio Castroneves back there in the Team Penske trio. There he's in 3rd position, looking to make a move on his teammate Will Power. For Helio, it's been 3 years since he won a race, Katie. 47 races ago, he too wants to find victory lane.
Marty, J.R. Hildebrand is sandwiched in between the Penske cars there. And just to tell you how much of a warrior this guy is, he has a carbon brace. It's a little bit harder to keep his left hand more stable. He didn't want it this weekend. He just has a little piece of plastic that's keeping his hand stable, Kev.
Josef Newgarden, after dealing with that damage on the wing, is back in the game now, but he, like all of those that are not up front, would love to have another restart, and it's going to be key on this final pit stop. He's going to need to pick up a spot or so in the pit because it's so challenging to pass the other fast cars, Marty.
Kevin, Scott Dixon told you in the pre-race the Honda Aero kit just so different for us, and he told me it's been a huge learning curve for us this weekend at a short oval with a Honda Aero kit. Right now, he's a little frustrated with some understeer in the race car. They told him on the radio a moment ago, don't get frustrated, don't get too upset. Just hang in there, do the best you can, Kev.
Tony Kanaan has to be frustrated, but he's not been saying much. The car has been good throughout. He is likely frustrated because he's had a car that's good enough to contend, but he had already pitted when the yellow came out, so that's why he's a lap down. But he's been strong throughout the weekend, and again tonight, Marty.
Kevin, we've seen it all evening long. James Hinchcliffe, the first of those cars to pit, they pitted at lap 122, and every window they pitted before everybody else. So you can look for them coming about lap 193. He said, we've unloaded good off the truck every week so far this year. That's been our biggest key to our success. Right now, 8th for James Hinchcliffe. Ryan Hunter-Ray back there in the 9th position, a little frustrated with the handling of his race car too. Hasn't gotten it where he would like it. He hasn't been able to pull off those patented outside moves on restarts either. The car with a lot of understeer. They're trying to stretch that fuel window to see if they can get around James Hinchcliffe, Katie.
Marty, we told you in the beginning of this show that Ed Carpenter was one to watch out for this weekend. He started 21st and has worked his way all the way up to 10th, but he's dealing with the pushy, loose car. The team keeps taking front wing out and out and out every stop, but he's still struggling, especially when he gets up behind other cars. Rick?
Thanks, Katie. Let's take a look at tonight's Chevy driver profile, and we'll go to Ed Carpenter. Big fan of the Butler Bulldogs, school right there in Indianapolis, and what an amazing program Butler has had as far as basketball goes. They've become a powerhouse in the basketball world for NCAA basketball, and Ed Carpenter, big fan of the Butler University. Also a big fan there of the Pacers and the Colts. 7 USAC starts at this racetrack for Ed Carpenter.
Right now, Paul, those two Ganassi cars, the Scott Dixon and Tony Kanaan, all causing all kinds of headaches for Will Power. He sits in second place, but 7.5 seconds back, and he's struggling to get by these two cars that are a lap down.
Yeah, that's going to be the problem, is these guys are not obligated. Well, they should be obligated to let him go by because Pagenaud's the leader and he's by. As we talk about Pagenaud, this is a guy who's our series champion. He's won it at every level that he's ever raced at, but he has yet to win an oval race in his career. So this could be a huge night for him to finally get that monkey off his back. He's been on the pole of places, he's run quick, but he's never won an oval being a series champion. So this is a big night if he can maintain what he's got here.
Running car number 1 by virtue of winning that championship last year, and now as they run, he is the championship points leader, moving up 3 spots as they run right now. 16-point lead over his teammate Josef Newgarden, again, as they run right now.
Trying to work his way around the 14 of Carlos Munoz, who's, again, scored a lap down. Will go 2 laps down as soon as Pagenaud makes the move, and he does get by Carlos Munoz. Pagenaud, you know, at 14 years old, he was working in his family's supermarket. He managed the video game department. Can you imagine at 14 years old, you manage the video game department? That would be that'd be a tough task for a 14-year-old.
That's like letting Robin Miller manage a donut shop.
Good analogy. Very good analogy.
Dream job for a 14-year-old, right?
Dream job. I mentioned earlier, start of the race, very difficult. As Mikhail Aloshin goes around, 5 cars collected, including that of the 15, Graham Rahal.
There's 5 of the top Honda runners all out in one corner on the first lap. As we go to lap 23, Pagenaud, our leader, makes a move on Hildebrand on the restart, and he has steadily worked his way to the front, to the lead, and this is the biggest lead now that anybody's had.
This is lap 70. Pagenaud passes his teammate Will Power for the lead and starts to check out.
Kumasato brings out the yellow on lap 139, and this is where the cars were on pit road when the caution came out. There was Pagenaud going around Will Power, who was the race leader, but because the caution came out, Pagenaud gets the lead because he was still on the track.
Josef Newgarden replaces his damaged front wing, and on that restart, that new front wing paid big dividends as he started to work his way back through the field.
Newgarden was able to just go by James Hinchcliffe, and that put James Hinchcliffe in a position where he came to pit road and had a stop. As we look at the race summary, again, out front right now, it's Simon Pagenaud.
Some of these Honda runners now are starting to pit, Marty, so that might free up the track for Will Power.
Well, and as we predicted, James Hinchcliffe, the first of those to pit, Paul, to pitted at lap 186. They hope they got enough Sunoco fuel to go the rest of the way, so they're going to have to really save from here to the end of the race. They should be fine, but certainly going to be in the back of their mind. They got to save enough fuel to make it to lap 250.
Closing in on 50 laps to go. On that restart, we had 100 to go, so these laps go by fast at 20 seconds average lap. So as we look at Castroneves here, who's chasing down his teammate Will Power, but they are still stuck in this traffic with these lapped cars of the Ganassi cars.
And they said in the drivers' meeting today they will not give a blue flag mandate unless you're a lap down to the entire field. So Kanaan and Dixon are within the protocol to stay where they are, but man, that has to be so frustrating for these Penske drivers. It's 8 seconds to their teammate Pagenaud, and there's really no way to make that up on pit lane in and out laps. So right now, advantage Pagenaud, but still a lot can play out.
And now, Townsend, you've been doing the math. You've been writing down a lot of numbers as far as when guys came to pit road.
By 2.5. Good work.
You're looking at probably within the next 5 laps, guys can come to pit road, fill up, and make it to the end.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you're going to see, I think, in the next 2 to 3 laps. The deal is, though, that you want to stretch this as long as you can in case a yellow comes out. This is the stint to stretch things. If you pit now and then a yellow comes out, you're a lap down, your race is over. So hang in here. If something happens, you're protected.
I heard Roger Penske on the radio. He said clear by 2.5. That's not 2.5 seconds. That's 2.5 car lengths to Hildebrand. So Roger always giving Castroneves the information that he needs so he doesn't have to have his eyes in the back of his head and look at the mirrors all the time. There he is, clear by 2.5.
Front wing, yes or no?
Asking about front wing.
That was a yes, I think.
I think that was a maybe.
Yeah, one more front wing. I think he came back with a yes. So right now he's in traffic, so he's probably got some understeer.
Might have been an out of breath yes, because I know the drivers were talking about at these speeds, a lot of times it's hard to breathe in the turns.
5.5 G's in the corners as we see rookie Ed Jones. Robin?
The good thing is Ed Jones, here's Ryan Hunter-Reay comes to the pits. Ed Jones, his first oval race, boys. He's got Diction, Kanaan behind him, and all the Penske boys. He's doing a hell of a job, Marty.
Robin, you see Ryan Hunter-Reay coming down pit road. I think the safest way to describe his evening is that he has not been happy all evening. He comes in 12th, going to be 4 fresh tires. They have not been able to get the understeer out of this race car. Wing changes, air pressure changes, everything, trying to free this car up just a little bit. 9.1 on the stop. Right in front of him, Scott Dixon. He too struggling with the handling just a little bit on this 9 car. They're going to make a wing change and an air pressure change as well, and 4 fresh Firestone tires. Kevin?
Josef Newgarden coming in. Watch for him to take a little bit of wing out. They've been had wing because of that damage. Now they've got a new front wing on, so they're going to be able to make a final adjustment and see if he can get racy. Newgarden's final stop of the day. There you see the wing adjustment, and Team Penske's winner of the most recent race is back out. Tony Kanaan, a lap down because of the timing of the last caution, makes his final stop actually later than Newgarden. Newgarden was fine on fuel, so this tells us that Kanaan's also going to be good, but they were a little bit uncertain because they last came in at 131, about 15 laps earlier than Newgarden.
I have Dario staying at my house, and I said, so what's the problem? Why don't you think you're going to be competitive? And I think the fans want to know, why does the Hondas, why are they slow, and why are they pitting early? And Dario told me, in this configuration that has been mandated by the series, that they have less downforce and more drag. So they don't have the handling because they don't have the downforce, and they're not making the fuel mileage because they have more drag.
But in the first 3 races, they absolutely have the power because they're the manufacturer to beat on the road courses. Here comes Newgarden out of the pits working on Tony Kanaan. Has to get by. Kanaan's a lap down. Newgarden knows, I have to make something happen. This is my chance.
Newgarden's, or Tony's on fresh tires, and Newgarden still hasn't.
Yeah,
has he pitted now?
Yep, Newgarden was just on pit road.
This is a problem for Newgarden because if you can't get by Tony, and Tony's not going to give up that position.
There
He's
it
got
is.
a nice
Great
run there. Great, nice run.
Looking
So
inside,
Tony
inside,
backed off
clear.
and let him go.
Pagenaud stays out. Now Newgarden was 2 laps down. That's what happened. So if a yellow comes out, Pagenaud's sitting really pretty.
I'll tell you what, Power's got the bit between his teeth because it was almost 8 seconds, and now it's closed down to 5, and it's closing quickly. So now that Will is out of that traffic in clean air, he's put the hammer down 19.9 second laps when everybody else has been in the 20s.
And guys, his strategist, I should say, John Boslog, kind of held him back for the early part of this run, kind of working through traffic. They told him, we're going to pit in about 8-10 laps here. Let it go as fast as you can. Now Will Power's going to come down pit road this next lap. So at the end of that run, they kind of unleashed him. So he's clearly got some speed. Let's see if he can gain some time here on pit road. Going to be interesting to watch these Team Penske guys pit here. Will Power coming down pit road right now, Rick.
Well, he was the best in the field on the first round of stops under green flag, so Will Power is the measure for out and in laps as he comes to his pit box.
And again, the gap was about 5 seconds. Katie.
And J.R. Hildebrand was trying to follow the lead of what the Penske cars in front of him were doing. He's battling some understeer, so they're going to take a half a turn of front wing out, as you see it there. Marty?
Katie, pretty simple on the radio, Will Power. They asked him, do you want any changes? He was quick to say, nope. Everything I can do inside the race car. So no changes here for Will Power, who clearly feels like he has a very good car. And a quick stop for the 12 bucks, 7.5 on the stop. Elio Castroneves coming down pit road this time. He's been struggling a little bit more with his race car than his teammate Will Power. They are again going to do a front wing change. You guys heard the radio conversation, and that was indeed a yes from Elio Castroneves that he wants that wing change. You see it on both sides of the front wing, and a little bit longer on his stop than it was for Will Power. Simon Pagenaud going 1 lap longer than everybody else. He has done that all evening long. We'll see if that pays off for Pagenaud coming down pit road, who led here. Remember, we mentioned a moment ago, a couple of years ago, he had never driven on an oval. Here he is with a chance to win his first ever oval race. They've been very happy with the car on this run. A little bit of understeer he's been fighting all day long, but that clean track position certainly helps. He comes down pit road. He gets those 4 fresh Firestone tires, Sunoco fuel as well. Waiting on that fuel and quick on the stop. 7-1 for Simon Pagenaud. Could be a race-winning stop.
And he had about a 5-second lead over Will Power, who's on the front straightaway, about to go into turn 1. No need to really push it for Pagenaud, but Power's going for it.
It's going to close the gap here. It was 5 seconds, but he's got a couple lapped cars here.
He's okay. He's okay. He just needed to make sure he didn't make a mistake there. He had a nice gap, and he maintained it.
So again, after they have cycled through the green flag pit stops, it's Simon Pagenaud. He has about a 4-second lead over Will Power at Phoenix. That's not very far from now, so you don't have to. You can sleep for a couple hours and then get right back up and watch some open wheel racing with F1 at 7 a.m. Eastern tomorrow.
Pretty cool to see Valtteri Bottas out-qualify Hamilton for 2 races in a row here as Pagenaud, smooth sailing up front, leads his teammate Will Power by 7 seconds, who's stuck in traffic.
These guys have got the traffic situation, and Pagenaud's just had clear sailing and just cruising back away to a 7.5 second lead again. So traffic, the lap traffic has really played a part in the race for the lead. During the commercial break, we had Ryan Hunter-Reay got passed by Hildebrand right here, and he got up high in the gray, lost the front end, and you see just barely grazed the wall. He came on the radio, and he wasn't very happy.
Not a lot of marbles, really, PT. It's just sort of like the dust from the Haboob the other night. Yeah. It's just a really light, fine.
Very close. That's Newgarden. Josef Newgarden. Might have done the same thing as Ryan Hunter-Reay. Might have got high. He's coming in. Damage. He's got wing damage, so I don't know if he tried to pass somebody and touch them, but he's got another broken wing. And Hunter-Reay.
I'll bet the 2 had contact.
Ryan Hunter-Reay also coming to pit road.
Now he's got that outside winglet, which is broken just like the inside one earlier. So both sides of that wing this race have been damaged, and that's going to put him 2 or 3 laps down.
Kevin.
So the second wing change, as we see Ryan Hunter-Reay also on pit lane. Newgarden changing it for the second time. He still maybe had something because he was still saving fuel, and Tim Cindric had just said with 20 to go, we're going to turn it up again. So Newgarden's chance to get a good result is gone. He's going to go a lap down, Marty.
Ryan Hunter-Reay slides to a stop in the stall. What happened was, guys, he hit the wall pretty hard in between 1 and 2. And remember, he grazed it a little while ago, but hit it pretty hard this time. And you hear the command, shut the engine off. The night over for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Damage too significant, and we're closing in on the finish. 25 to go very quickly, Rick.
Yeah, something broke in the right rear there.
I'll tell you what, we see Newgarden here racing with somebody. He touched Ryan Hunter-Reay. Yeah. So, you know, he's gone through 2 wings this night. I was usually the guy at Penske that damaged a lot of front wings in a race. So he's done some damage to the front wings tonight.
You know what I was thinking? How many of these teams outside of Penske would have 3 front wings available on pit lane? That's Penske preparation. For a road course, yeah. For a short oval, that's impressive.
So now with that happening, there are only 4 cars on the lead lap. Simon Pagenaud, Will Power, Jared Hildebrand, and Helio Castroneves.
Hildebrand benefited from that because he got around Castroneves, and now he's looking at his first podium. If he can hang on, he's had a fast car all night, and he's clear by quite a way of Castroneves now.
I think Hildebrand really impressing. It's his first Phoenix start right here and already running in the top 3. Helio Castroneves, after setting the track record, currently running in the 4th spot. Take another look at what happened with Newgarden.
I think Hunter-Reay's just trying to stay out of the way, frankly, at this point. And I think Hunter-Reay doesn't want to go anywhere near that high line, right? That's what got him into trouble before. He doesn't want to get even a car width off the line. I don't blame him.
Just a big speed difference.
Onboard with Kanan.
Going a lot slower through the corner, and see Hunter-Reay run wide again. They said he might have brushed the wall again, so he's had really bad handling woes.
That's where he got hit. The 2 of Josef Newgarden, and so Josef Newgarden, as we mentioned, the 3rd front wing
with a little bit of Hunter-Reay.
Yeah.
Little yellow blend, there it is, just fell right off.
And you see Ryan Hunter-Reay out of the car now.
You know, after watching that, Paul, I wonder if maybe it was a mistake for Newgarden to pit because it looked more damaged than it was. It was really just a piece of debris pressed onto the right front of his wing.
He could have just stayed going and continued to run 4th because there's only 4 cars on the lead lap, and that cost him 2 laps, and now he's in 10th place. You know, if he'd have stayed out and that winglet piece might have fallen off on track, would have caused a yellow, we could have packed everybody up. If I would have stayed out if it was me.
It's a devious mind.
Yeah. Well, and they didn't know. They were trying to look at what was going on. It wasn't handling the way it had been.
It wasn't big contact though, Rick. He looks like he just barely nudged into the back bumper of Hunter-Reay's car, and it really didn't look like the wing was damaged badly.
A week ago, we were begging his teammate Will Power to stay out. Don't make him pit with that puncture. Just hang in there. And now it's Newgarden this week.
4 cars still on the lead lap, less than 17 laps to go now.
Hildebrand has closed the gap 3 seconds in the matter of 5 laps to Power, so he is all over the back of Power. Look at this guy. He might be going for 2nd place here. Pagenaud is way down the road, 11 seconds, but here he goes.
A plate and 8 screws. J.R. Hildebrand, broken hand, has been the car to beat in traffic. He is so racy tonight, and he's all over the back of Power.
Let's see if he can get by that 12 of Will Power. That is for the 2nd spot.
He's got his owners in front of him, so I will guarantee you that Ed will try to help his teammate out here. Ed will make it difficult for Power to get by, and maybe that'll allow JR to get a nice run on him. He's been so strong off the corners.
So if you're going to play the devious mind, Paul, the way to do this is to check up in the middle of the corner a bit, breathe it if you're Ed Carpenter, and that'll allow JR to get a run.
Well, don't broadcast that out over the radio.
Oh, you know this, huh, Townsend?
Oh, there's so many tricks of the trade.
Right, Will and JR, they're 4 back right now.
Marty.
Go on, let them go on the
front. Rick, as we close in on the finish, let's chat with Ryan Hunter-Reay and get him across pit road here. And obviously the contact with Newgarden is what puts you out, but that's about as frustrated as I've ever heard you in a race car. It's about as frustrated as I've ever heard you with a race car.
Can you repeat? I can't hear you.
I said that is about as frustrated as I have ever heard you with a race car. What was going on?
It just very frustrating. I couldn't do anything with the car all night. I love short ovals, and it's just really frustrating. Had a great start. Went by a bunch of guys, and then we get, we get a puncture or whatever. Just the way it's been. So, Dixon was coming up behind me there, stuck his nose in. I was afraid I'd turn across him. I should have just turned across him. Anyway, I got out into the gray. 2 guys got by me, then I went down into turn 1, and the car wouldn't turn at all. Bent the right rear toe link. So, I don't know. It was a really wild ride today in that thing. It was way too complicated behind the steering wheel.
All right, Ryan Hunter-Reay clearly very frustrated. Hard to hear down here in 1 and 2, Rick, but we're closing in on an awesome finish here.
Absolutely. Under 10 laps to go now. 9 to go. Out in front, Simon Pagenaud, a very comfortable lead. 13 seconds in front of second place Will Power. But Simon Pagenaud has been fighting to try to get back up into that point lead, and today he's been able to do it. Now he has the point lead that he was able to win a year ago, the championship. He has the #1 car. He's dominating right now at Phoenix. He needs to make sure this stays green.
As they run right now, he'd have a pretty big lead with 18 points over second place, which would be Scott Dixon by virtue of Newgarden having issues.
And there's no urgency now to do anything because he's running the same pace as Power with a 13-second lead with 9 laps to go. So no need to pass Tony Kanaan. He can back off almost a second a lap for sure and still win the race.
Doesn't look like he's going to do that though, Paul.
You're telling a driver to back off. We haven't seen anyone do that yet today, but right there you see Simon Pagenaud back off a bit from Tony Kanaan as he was getting right up on that back wing, and now maybe listening to what PT has said.
Somebody has heard the voice of the Thrilla, and he's definitely backed way off. He's just going to chill his way to the finish and hope that a yellow doesn't come out.
This is probably one of JR's best races he's had in his career, other than the Indy 500, which went away from him on the last lap in the last corner. He was on his way to win the Indy 500, and just heartbreak. It almost ended his career. He waited around and waited around for an opportunity and finally got it this year. And now with a broken hand is going to end up on the podium, it looks like, and maybe second place.
He still has to try to fight it away from Will Power. Will Power in front of him, the 36-year-old with 29 career wins. 16 of those wins for Will Power have come on street courses, but he has had success on ovals as well. As we continue to watch J.R. Hildebrand and Will Power as they're under 4 laps to go now. Pagenaud still with a huge lead, 9 seconds.
Carlos Munoz there ahead of Will Power, and J.R. Hildebrand is going to be studying the every move of Munoz and Power. Where can I make a last lap move? Maybe 2 laps to go. Here he is.
He's got to run, so he might get a pick here.
He's got to do it now. Less than a minute to go in this race. Under 3 laps to go. 2 to go now as Pagenaud's already crossed the start-finish line.
This is where he's been strong, is off of 4, and he's sliced down the inside of Scott Dixon and Castro Neves, so he's got 1 more lap to do this. Another strong run off of 2. White flag for Simon Pagenaud. 13-second lead.
Less than a mile to go for Simon Pagenaud. Pagenaud with 8 career wins coming into this race. None of those have ever been on an oval.
Oh, this could be good coming to turn 3 for J.R. Hildebrand. Great run out of turn 2.
Great battle for second, but coming out of turn 4, Simon Pagenaud's going to win at Phoenix.
Good job, little bud. Good job.
Fight for second, Will Power. He's going to be able to hang on. And J.R. Hildebrand, what a finish for the man with a broken left hand. Crew celebrating. Pagenaud, 2016 IndyCar champion. And it just took 4 races into the 2017 season for him to get his first win of this season. And Simon Pagenaud now on top of the point standings and gets his first win of 2017 and his first ever win on an oval. let the celebration begin. The fireworks, what we saw all race long, now the fireworks are in the air on the backstretch here at Phoenix. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Honda, an official vehicle of the Verizon IndyCar Series, and by Pengrade Motor Oil. Make the grade. Celebration for Simon Pagenaud, the 32-year-old Frenchman. He wanted the checkered flag. He went all the way into the grandstands to get it. While he was there, a few high fives, handshakes from the fans that were able to watch him get his first ever oval win.
All he needs to do now is a backflip off the pit wall. He'll have it covered it all, right?
Let's not suggest that be an option right now. Kevin.
Will Power is debriefing with David Faustino and the rest of the crew here with Team Penske, a second place finish. And you saw the checkered flag. You had a result. That's what you wanted to start with, at least.
Yeah, it was a very good result. Definitely needed that one. It's just unfortunate we caught that yellow because I felt like we had the strongest car. We had a fantastic car and the guys did great stops. But still, second place, kind of, I think we closed the gap to the points leader a little bit. And yeah, a good day, good solid day.
What was this race like for you? What were the challenges within?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, yeah, I don't understand why they blew flag for the leader, but they don't for the second place car. It kind of ruined the race that we couldn't race. It just, I think they should do like NASCAR where they reorder everyone because it just turns into a boring race. But at the end they start blue flagging people. But it was still, I think Penske was 1-2. I don't know where the other guys finished, but it was a great day for Penske.
Elio was 4, and Josef had to change another wing and finished a couple laps down. You, by the way, jumped from 14th to 7th in the championship. Does this give you some momentum to make you feel like you're back in it as we head to May in Indianapolis?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a fun race, and he gave us some points. I mean, yes, we're not out of the game. I mean, come on, so early. Yeah, we got plenty of time.
We saw it last year. Will Power missed the first race, charged back, and had a chance at the championship, and here he comes again. Katie.
Kevin, JR, the man with the broken hand, comes home with a podium. JR, you got out, squeezing the hand. How are you?
It was a little sore on that lap, like going out on new tires that last stint. The wheel was super heavy. I was like, oh man, like it's gonna be rough. But the car was just so good. The guys had me totally dialed in. I think we were really close on the trim level. You know, was able to get Elio and Josef there. They got kind of jammed up, and we were right on the money to get through there. So felt like we had something for Will at the end. Just couldn't quite get the timing right, but. Yeah, I mean, happy to break up the Penske sandwich, and just really excited for the team to get a good result this weekend.
JR's car looked great in traffic, but let's talk to the boss man, Ed Carpenter. We said in the beginning of the show that you were going to be one to watch today, and you absolutely were. 21st to 7th, Ed, how was the car?
It was okay. I mean,
just okay.
Yeah, I mean, we made a lot of spots, but it was a weird race. We were a little over downforce, so couldn't get as racy as I wanted to be, but we knew we needed to run a lot to try to make something happen, and then when we got to running with kind of mid-pack to forward guys, it was really hard to make moves. Could use some more restarts. I was really good on restarts, but all in all, a good day for the ECR team and Fuzzy's Vodka, getting JR his first podium with us, building some momentum as we head towards May. And it had been a while since I'd finished one of these too, so I'll take that as a small victory after the disaster that was yesterday for the 20 car.
Rick, I believe this is his 4th finish in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, and I mean, he was looking for a good finish, but at the same time, this is the first race of 2017 for Ed Carpenter. He has other drivers that race on the street and road courses. As we see the helmet coming off, Simon Pagenaud, again the defending series champion.
Looking pretty fresh after 250 laps around this place.
Well, the last 60, 70 laps, all he had to do was just maintain his lead. He at one time had a 13-second lead. He ended up winning by 9. Backed it down at the end, wasn't racing with Kanan hard. So as he stopped on the front straightaway and got out to see the crowd, you could see
how big this win was for him. He had never won on an oval, and now it's like getting the monkey off your back.
He was celebrating with the fans in the grandstands, the big smiles by the Frenchman. And he is now an oval winner, and let the celebration begin.
Rick, you can tell he just appreciates this one a little bit more, the 32-year-old from France. And in your illustrious career, did you ever think you'd hear the words, "You've won at an oval"? Where does this one rank on the career accomplishment list?
Those were the longest 50 laps of my life. I have a button on the steering wheel to check the lap count. Every laps, I was pressing a button.
More numbers would go off, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was the most stressful end of the race I've ever lived, but the car was just phenomenal. You know, it was an incredible day for the Menards car. Chevy did an incredible job with the aero package for these kind of tracks, and on the engine as well. Since the beginning of the season, we worked so closely. It's been fun, I have to say, and obviously thanks to Verizon as well for all the support that they give us. But I gotta tell you, I mean, this is just incredible. For me, it's yeah, this is my best win, you know, because it's so strategic to win on an oval. You have to really study what the others are doing, how your car is responding, adjust it during the race to be good at the end. And today was just exactly the perfect day, so I couldn't be any happier.
Growing up, you never raced on ovals. Obviously, the first one was a test at Texas just a couple of years ago. How hard?
Actually.
With Townsend,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
He took credit, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure he can. He can. He taught me a lot, actually, that year. You know, we were teammates in Indianapolis at Schmidt, and he's the gasser, man. He just goes full throttle everywhere, and he taught me a lot.
Talk to me about this pass on Will Power and how tough he was, because you knew all evening long he had a great car.
Yeah, Will was great, and I gotta say, big respect. You know, it was a great respect between teammates. Will was struggling a little bit on the exit of 4. My car was phenomenal all night out of 4, and I was trying to time a run. He had a slight mistake, and I took my chance, but he gave me plenty of room. Between teammates, that's what you want to see, and I gotta say hat off to him and to the whole team. Every 4 cars were phenomenal this weekend.
I know you said the biggest win of your career, but tell me about, you could tell you enjoyed it because you had an impromptu visit with the fans. Was that just off the cuff or what?
Well, I'm so excited. I mean, it's just I don't know if you can see it, but I am so excited about this win. For me, it's been a long time coming. You know, I had to relearn everything. Oval for me was completely unknown. So when you're 25 years old and you have to relearn everything, it's not that easy, but I think now it's coming.
And you're in familiar territory, the new championship leader, by the way.
Yes, I like to be proud of that #1, and have a great result like that is very important after you won a championship.
Rick, I think there's a bigger name on the other line. The boss man wants to come in and say congratulations to Simon Pagenaud. Incredible win for this race team. And think about this, Rick. They have not finished worse than 5th this year, and that includes the flat tire they had at Long Beach. Came back from that. Impressive. Simon Pagenaud, the championship leader once again.
Yeah, it was he and Scott Dixon, the only 2 drivers that had gone the first 3 races with top 5 finishes, and now Pagenaud gets the win, another top 5 finish, and a new race record for IndyCar at Phoenix. They averaged over 144 miles an hour. The race for the Triple Crown begins with the Kentucky Derby. Coverage begins next Saturday at noon Eastern on NBCSN and 2:30 Eastern on NBC. Part of NBC Sports Championship season, presented by Canada Dry Ginger Ale. Championship season a year ago for Simon Pagenaud, and he's back on track, now back on top of the point standings. So Pagenaud celebrating his first win of 2017 and celebrating the fact that he's back on top of the point standings, and the team's going to continue to celebrate in victory lane. Kevin.
Helio Castroneves could not quite convert pole number 49 into win number 30. So what do you take away from a race like this when you and your teammates were all so good and you get another good result, 4th straight top 10, 4th place finish? How do you feel about it?
That's what happened when you have 3 other amazing drivers, you know, in our team, and it's great because we always got to have a chance to win a race no matter what happens and win which one. Unfortunately, in my situation, I got a little bit too cautious in the beginning. And then in the end, you see right here, I was trying to make a run and I almost hit those guys. It was a little bit strange because those guys were a lap down. I was quite not understanding. But the car was really good. Rev Group car was really, really good. It's just a shame that we had a little bit too much of front wing towards the end. It got got a huge one, and but great top 4 again. It was amazing. It was a good run.
It's hard to show on television what the challenge is. What is the challenge? Obviously, because if something goes wrong, you're not going to catch it.
No.
Well, I guess you can because you did catch it.
It's, guys, you don't understand. A small difference, and sometimes it's just a little bit, and then there is no way for you to try again. In this situation, I was really getting close to the guy, and all of a sudden, this is like, looks not much, but I had to go to the bathroom right now, change my underpants, because I tell you what, it was and that spooked me out a little bit, and I ended up changing a little bit of the tools inside the car. It was a wrong way to go, unfortunately, but collect more points, keep going, keep trying, and let's go for the next.
So how excited do you get now as we move to Indianapolis? Road course first, but then that other race in May, you've had some fairly good success in.
I'm super excited. I mean, this is a great momentum, not only the pole position, but Team Penske winning with Simon. Congrats to him. 1-2-40 again. I mean, Josef was right there as well. So we showed that we're going around, you know, even though the Honda looks like a little bit strong, we showed that we have to make a very good car, and today was another proof. So we're ready for Indy. Let's go with the Grand Prix and obviously the big one.
Thanks, Elio. Robin?
Josef and I were just talking off camera, fellas, that if it could go wrong tonight for him, it did. Great start, got up to second, and then what happened?
Yeah, it was a rough night. It was pretty much as rough as it can be for the 2-car. But, you know, the good news is we had speed. I think all the Penske cars did. And, you know, Simon was awesome tonight, so congrats to him for getting a win. It's a victory for all of us at Team Penske, so happy to see that. Will was good, too. And then, obviously, Elio as well, starting the race up front. So I think we had great race cars. We just... You know, we were changing wings. We had broken wings the whole race. We gotten some incidences, and it's just everything that could go the wrong way went the wrong way pretty much.
We're showing you and Hunter Ray touching now. Was he trying to get out of your way?
Well, so Hunter Ray, you know, I was following Scott, and I had Elio breathing down my neck at the end there, and we're just trying to ride and catch a podium to recover for the day, essentially. And you know, Scott got on the inside of Ryan into 3, and they went 2 by 2, and so I followed Scott through. But as soon as Scott cleared, Ryan wanted to get back down immediately. And I just had a head of steam coming with Scott, and I didn't have any time to check up. I tried to check up and hit the brakes, but I'm in the middle of the corner, so I couldn't really do much to miss him. And, you know, he contacted my right side of the front wing. And, you know, then I'm coming down to turn 1 with no front wing, and I'm in everyone's way, so I had to get in and get another wing, and, you know, that sealed our fate for the night. But somehow we finished in the top 10. I don't know how, but
what do you early on you got up to second and running fast and the right front wing was broken.
I don't know where that happened. You know, I don't know where I touched something or touched someone. I don't know what the heck happened, but we had a broken front wing there in the beginning, but you know, once we got that fixed, it was two stops later before we got that fixed, and then we were trying to dial in the new wing, and then we finally got that dialed in for the last stop. So it was just working on the car all night, and it just wasn't our way. But you know, it was still a good night. We finished in the top 10. I'm happy for the number 2 with the Hum guys, and obviously we got a Team Penske victory, so not too much to be sad about.
Well, and you're coming to your favorite racetrack. You've already got a victory for Team Penske, and he has a fairly good ratio of success there.
Well, yeah, you can't get sad about the month of May. I mean, it's exciting that we're going to be going there. We got 2 great races, obviously, with the GP of Indy and then the Indianapolis 500. So hopefully we got everything bad that needed to happen on an oval out of the way, and we can just focus on trying to win the Indianapolis 500.
Thanks, kid. Katie?
Yet another top 5 for Scott Dixon, but still no wins. Let's talk about the good news. You're close in points, closer than you normally are this time of year. Should the rest of the field be a little scared?
I don't know. You know, I'm hoping we're just changing it up a little bit. You know, maybe we can make the end of the season for us a little bit easier. But yeah, it's been a tough year so far. I think with some of the results, I think we've expected some of them to be a little bit better. But you know, tonight was kind of one of those things, just trying to get maximum points that we could. You know, I think we were first in class. But yeah, it was difficult out there. You know, it's we know going into this race, it's probably going to be one of our toughest ones, being a short oval in the configuration that we have. But a lot of credit, you know, obviously to Honda and HPD. They've been working, you know, their butts off. And obviously we're seeing big gains, and you know, I'm excited for everybody on the NTT data crew for the upcoming races. You know, Indianapolis, both the road course and the oval, I think are going to be big for us.
New to Honda this year, so you drove a Chevy around here last year. What were some of the differences that you noticed?
Yeah, it's a little bit, you know, I think the biggest difference is the drag. You know, the Aero kit that we have the freeze on right now is just got a ton of drag, and there's nothing we can do about it. Honda knows that, we know that, everybody in the field knows that, so we just got to try and make the most of what we got. But, you know, I'm looking forward to, as I said, with the upcoming races, you know, I think both the road course at Indy and the 500 hopefully is going to be big for us.
8th to 5th to the Heist Man today, Marty.
His teammate Tony Kanaan winds up finishing 6th, and it's funny that Dixon said he was first in class because I walked up to TK and said, how was your night? I was second in class. So how tough was the battle? Because, and I was talking to Dixon earlier in the week, for you guys, it was a big learning curve with this new Honda Aero kit for you guys at a short oval, which you had never run before.
No, and for sure that we knew that this track, Marty, was going to be difficult for us. Honda had a hard time here in the years past, and our Aero kit is pretty good to a track that is coming up in a couple of races. So here we knew we had to do our best, but I have to say the NTT INDYCAR was awesome. I mean, we're second in class overall. In my opinion, we need to improve the product for the fans. I think, hopefully next year with the new kit that everybody will have the same, we'll have a better racing, because I think the fans deserve a little bit better race than what it was.
Let's go back a few hours to lap 1, and we'll ride on board with you. How crazy was the view of that lap 1 crash?
It was interesting, I mean, it was trying to hang in there for life, and obviously with the sun, the track was a little dirty. I mean, it was still, the rubber was still up, and then I got really loose sideways right there, and then I guess Alishin behind us just went and then spun. So that is always tricky, especially in the mile ovals, starts like that when you have other races before us with different rubbers. So I had my hands full there.
You kind of hinted at you think the package will be a lot better for another race coming up. How excited are you to get to Indianapolis?
Can't wait. I can't wait. So that place is magic, and we know what we got. We tested there a few months ago, and I really can't wait to start.
Well, clue us in, or how good were you guys at the test?
You can look at my face. I can tell. I don't need to answer that for you right now. Yeah. Is it May yet?
No, it's close though, right? And I know that gets you excited. I don't know if it'll be your last one, TK, but do you soak it in a little bit more this time around?
Yeah, but I can assure you it won't be my last one.
He assures us it won't be his last Indy 500. Good news for TK. I know he's excited because that race always gets him jazzed up, Rick, and he'll be fast along with his teammate Scott Dixon.
And at 42 years old, Tony Kanaan, the oldest competitor in the field, and yet he looks like the most vibrant. I'm guessing that's because he's an avid triathlete. He does Ironman triathlons, and he's working extremely hard at staying fit and staying competitive. As we look at the month of May, everyone has a big smile on their face when you talk about going to Indianapolis. The Grand Prix of Indianapolis, that's May 13th. Qualifying, pole day, and of course the 101st running of the Indianapolis 500. Carb Day at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Friday, May 26th. You can join us on NBCSN for that. Final practice kicking off at 11 a.m. I mentioned celebration continues for Simon Pagenaud, winner at Phoenix. And welcome back. The podium, and standing atop that podium is Simon Pagenaud. But a podium finish for J.R. Hildebrand, getting a third-place finish here in his first ever Phoenix start. Katie.
Rick, it was 19th to 10th for Carlos Munoz today. And Carlos, as we've been standing here, you've been stretching and swinging your arms. How physical was that race today?
Man, it was really physical. I think the steering wheel was so heavy for us, for me and Connor. We didn't expect to be that heavy, the steering wheel, if I'm honest. I think it was even not drivable to be so hard. This track is fast, a lot of downforce. Physically, it's tough, this track. I have my shoulder kind of move it a lot. But, by the end of the day, P10, I just stay clean the whole race. I think we were like same pace than the Hondas. I think to be as competitive as the Penske Carpenter were here, we still miss some tenths, but we're getting there. I think just the whole program is different. Step by step. I know we're in the championship. I have two top 10s already. So now it's month of May, right? We go to St. Louis on Thursday. We test. So and then month of May. I think hopefully we'll have a good one with my new teammate Sachs and with Connor. And again, it's to show the speed there.
You finished second several times at Indy. Speaking of the month of May, can you win it this year?
It's gonna be tough for sure. We tested there a couple months ago. How we started the test, like I was out and in because I wasn't happy with the car. How we finished that day was a big improvement. I think closer for what I need, but it's a long month. It's gonna be really hard to win it, So I just hard day by day, qualifying and then race. Just go race by race. I think if we have a good car, we can have a great race.
and hopefully have a little special thing there, so I can show again what I can do. And you know, the main thing is to show the car that we can be up front and we stay learning.
A solid top 10 today for Carlos, Kevin.
Well, Simon Pagenaud won his first oval race. Last year's Indy Lights champion, rookie Ed Jones, competed in his first oval race in an IndyCar. We talked before the race about what a challenge this will be. How was it for you?
Yeah, it's really tough out there. You know, there's quite a few incidents, especially at the start, but we hung in there. You know, I found it tougher than I expected. You know, the race was obviously very long, a lot longer than I'm used to, and I really found it difficult to get close to other cars in traffic. And I think the only cars I was able to pass tonight were really the Chevys. The Hondas, we were struggling as a group, and we kind of expected that going into this round. But overall, it's great to finish 11th. You know, we're so close to having 4 top 10s. You know, and now we're heading to the month of May, which is going to be the biggest month of the year.
You almost didn't even get a chance to do a second lap in this race. What was your vantage point of the 5-car pileup in the beginning?
Yeah, obviously it happened directly in front of me, and it's one of those things where I just kept it flat. I didn't lift at all, because the thing is, as soon as you hesitate in one of those moments is when you get caught up in the crashes, and just went straight through it. And fortunately, I didn't catch any punctures or any debris, and that's what got us through it.
Really nice job tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ed Jones, still in the top 10 in the championship, finishes his first oval in 11th, Rick.
This old rookie, the 22-year-old out of Dubai. A big day racing tomorrow, and it all starts, really you have about 7 hours. You can fall asleep and get back up because the F1 countdown starts at 7 a.m. Eastern. Then the Formula One Russian Grand Prix at 7:30, F1 Extra at 10. And Andretti Autosport, very dominant when it comes to the Red Bull Global Rallycross. That is in Memphis at 1 p.m. Now, as all the celebrations continue for Simon Pagenaud and everyone here, we do want to reference that we lost a great one in Joe Leonard. Let's go down to Robin.
Well, today there was a real tragedy in racing. We lost Joe Leonard at the age of 84 years old. And he was a 2-time USAC national champion. He was a 3-time AMA flat track motorcycle champion. Dan Gurney hired him in 1965, and A.J. Foyt hired him. Parnelli Jones hired him. He was one of the great guys and one of the most versatile guys. He was the John Surtees of racing for us.
And of course, you celebrate with champagne when you make it up onto the podium. Nothing like a little champagne right in the eyes to say, I finished in the top 3. Let's go down to Katie.
It was a 12th place for James Hinchcliffe, but Hinch, you were struggling with fuel all day. What happened?
I mean, that's going to be a big topic of conversation, Monday morning at the Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports shop. We had a pretty good car. You know, the Aero car rolled off the truck pretty strong, certainly stronger than we've been here in the past. And we thought we had an okay race car, survived the turn 1 melee. Pretty bummed for Michaela to be caught up in a turn 1 wreck. And kind of settled into a nice rhythm. You know, we thought we were on pace. We pitted for that first stop and couldn't really figure out why no one else was coming in. And then next stint, same thing. Next stint, same thing again. And I mean, it was 5, 6, 7 laps, which is an unbelievable amount of fuel when you add it up over the course of the entire race. And if we'd had a yellow at the right time, it would have kind of leveled everybody off. We all could have just powered through to the finish, and I think we had a solid top 10, maybe 8th place. No one was catching the Chevys today. I mean, they were driving around us like we were sitting still. That one hurt a little bit, but we did what we could. We had to come in for that splash at the end, which, like I said, was guiding for the boys and everybody, because I think we were a bit quicker than that. But such is racing. Congrats to Simon and everybody. But we're heading to the month of May now, so excited.
Maybe he can get another pole, Marty.
Well, Katie, the captain wins tonight. Simon Pagenaud is the driver, and Roger Penske, of course, the owner. And you think Simon's driving maybe better than he ever has in his career, getting his first oval win tonight?
Well, I think that's something that he had on his bucket list, was to win at an oval, and to win here at a racetrack like this with the speeds. When you think about qualifying at 195 miles an hour, someone said it would take 2.5 laps to lap a NASCAR car here. So wow, what speed! But the teams just did a terrific job tonight. The way they finished, really a lap ahead of the field, was amazing when you think about it. I think we got lucky on the yellow, but lots of preparation, and this gets us good momentum going to Indy.
I was going to ask you about that. Anything that gets you more fired up than the month of May?
Well, anything, a win going into Indy is something that's awful important. You know, to have that momentum is so good. But look, these Honda guys are going to be strong. But we're turning those Chevys up now, so we're having some fun. But it was a great run for Simon, and to think the champion from last year coming back, he breaking the ice again is terrific.
No doubt, Robin, the captain loves the month of May in Indianapolis.
Charlie Kimball finished 8th, but last year he had a Chevy Aero kit, and he thinks maybe there's a little difference.
Well, I think the Honda has great horsepower, and we seem to struggle a little bit keeping up with the Chevys, but the Penske guys, even the Carpenter cars were really quick. But Chip Ganassi Racing, 3 cars in the top 10. The Novo Nordisk team, the 83 guys, feel really good about the job they did in pit lane. Carries some momentum. You know, we finished a race last week in Barber on the lead lap. Come here, finish in the top 10. It bodes well heading to the greatest racetrack in the world.
Not to mention, you're good at Mid-Ohio. You're even better at Indy. Fellas?
Yeah, he's got a smile on his face. Again, Charlie Kimball finishing in 8th as we take a look at the unofficial results. Again, only 4 cars ended up on the lead lap because of that caution coming out for Takuma Sato.
Yeah, but the Chevys were so quick, it's quite possible they could have lapped the field with the pace of the Penskes and J.R. Hildebrand. Terrific result for Hildebrand. Just can't say enough about the grit for that young American to stick with it, broken hand and all, and get a good solid finish on the books.
Solid finish for the whole team. Ed Carpenter, he's only done 4 races in 2 years. So for him to come home in 7th, he started dead last in the field. A really great run for his team, and they are always solid at Indianapolis. I know you'd like to get in one of those cars, wouldn't you?
I don't know. It's kind of fun watching these guys duke it out, but Indianapolis is going to be incredibly competitive. And look at the number of cars that do not finish as the result of that massive pileup in the first lap, in the first corner. Glad to see everybody walk away from that safely.
Yeah, again, 17th through 21st, all involved in the lap 1 melee that took place in turn number 1. And again, with Simon Pagenaud getting the win and Sebastian Bourdais being involved in that first lap melee, now a new point leader. Sebastian Bourdais drops all the way down to 4th after leading the first 3 races as far as point standings for Dale Coyne Racing, and now it's Simon Pagenaud that's back on top.
And I do think the tables can turn, though, going to Indianapolis for Honda. We know they make the horsepower. Scott Dixon's going to be strong. James Hinchcliffe, last year's pole sitter, is going to be strong. So I still think this is the most competitive season we've ever seen, Paul.
Big jump for Will Power from 14th up to 7th. And let's not forget, it's double points at Indianapolis, isn't it? So a lot will change in the next month.
A year ago, it was 8 different winners over the whole season. And so far in 4 races, there have been 4 different winners. So an amazing start to 2017. Coming up next, World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship. Be sure to join us Friday, May 26th at 11 a.m. Eastern for all the fun of Carb Day from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For more information on the Verizon IndyCar Series, log on to NBCSports.com. Congratulations, Simon Pagenaud, his first oval win.